Chapter 1381 Heavenly Court's Letter. The Super GU formation in Plunder Shadow Earth Trench might be broken, but it had warned Fang Yuan and the group. At this time, the southern border GU Immortals were rushing over, but there was still some distance before they reached. Fang Yuan could use the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle to immediately escape. However, after he carefully considered it, he decided to try using omnidirectional travel, and familiarize with this method early to prevent any accidents in the future. Because Fang Yuan's methods could not break the investigative killer move, that meant his location would always be in an exposed state. It was likely that they would be ambushed by enemies while escaping. For instance, Fang Yuan's group had ran into Yi Clan's Immortal GU house, Bay Pavilion, earlier, while they were on the run. Under this situation, it was actually risky for Fang Yuan and the others to escape with the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. Because the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was not an Immortal GU house, it and the GU Immortals were not a single entity, and it did not provide a unified combination of offense and defense like Immortal GU houses. This meant the GU Immortals on the Eagle's back could easily be targeted. But if they grasped the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel, they could teleport instantly, crossing an extremely large distance and leaving the danger area. Ying Wuxie and the others were able to escape even Heavenly Court's pursuit because they had this method. Fang Yuan's repeated chases brought no results because of this ancient battle formation. Now, Fang Yuan was the new leader of Shadow Sect, his enemy's advantage had now become his advantage. Fang Yuan summoned all the GU Immortals, and passed on the contents of the ancient battle formation to every person. Among them, Bai Ningbing, He Lulan and Ying Wuxie had already grasped this formation path killer move. But it was the first time for Fang Yuan, Miao Yin and Black Tigress. In any case, only 3 of them had grasped omnidirectional travel, and among them, Ying Wuxie's mind was in a turmoil and could not be relied on. As such, Fang Yuan needed to gather everyone and practice together. This formation path method needed each GU Immortal to coordinate, so there was not much meaning in practicing alone. While Fang Yuan and the group were urgently practicing omnidirectional travel, Wu Yang was marching ahead majestically with the southern border righteous path GU Immortals. Wu Yang, according to your information, the enemies are likely to be in Plunder Shadow Earth Trench. We are not that far from the Earth Trench now, please give your orders to plan the situation. Kai Kuyu said. He was also a rank 8 GU Immortal, like Wu Yang, and based on seniority, he was from the same generation as Wu Dushu, highly senior to Wu Yang. However, Wu Clan was at the height of power, while Kai Clan was satisfied in ruling over their area and had far less reputation than Wu Clan. Adding on the information revealed by Tai Mi and Shen about Wu Yang, Southern Borders GU Immortals were starting to feel apprehensive towards this Wu Clan First Supreme Elder. And even some fear. After all, before this, many Righteous Path forces had looked to trouble Wu Clan, some even openly invaded Wu Clan's external resource points. If they had known about Wu Yang's strength and Wu Clan's clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building, they would have restrained themselves and not have acted so recklessly. Wu Clan lost much territory, Wu Yang is absolutely going to settle the score later. After exterminating Shadow Sect's remnant forces, Wu Yang will probably start taking actions. Sigh, we were all mistaken, this Wu Yang is very scheming, completely unlike Wu Dushu, he actually hid himself so well. Now that I think back, this was probably his plan, to show weakness first so that he can counterattack later with justification on his side, gaining even more benefits. On the way, the southern border GU Immortals continued to discuss with each other. Theories about Wu Yang soon became the common topic in the group. As for Fang Yuan and the rest of Shadow Sect's members, Purple Mountain True Monarch had already died, even Spectral Soul's main body was captured by Heavenly Court. To the southern border Righteous Path GU Immortals, only that upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was worth noting. They had mobilized 6 Immortal GU houses in this trip, what was there to fear about an upper extreme Heavenly Eagle? Plunder Shadow Earth Trench. Bai Ningbing suddenly coughed softly, a pained expression flashing past her eyes. The activation of omnidirectional travel had failed again. Bai Ningbing suffered the most severe backlash. But her expression soon recovered. Man as before, Fang Yuan was successively activating this time path Immortal GU, healing himself and others. A complicated expression flashed past He Lulan's eyes, as she once again enjoyed the healing effect of Man as before. Man as before was still alive, even she was once again in Fang Yuan's camp, the only pity was Tai Bai Yunsheng who had died. Moreover, he had been personally killed by Fang Yuan. The training stopped, Fang Yuan healed his injuries using Man as before, and began to think and summarize the reason for the failure. As for the others, they were still healing. Man as before had been used on all of them, but its effect on them was far less than on Fang Yuan. The sovereign immortal body had the property of non-conflicting Dao marks. This slightly weakened Fang Yuan's defense, but at the same time, it gave him a great boost in the healing aspect. The injuries to others were not serious, and adding on their outstanding inheritances, they soon recovered completely. Alright, let's try again. Fang Yuan called. Ancient battle formation, omnidirectional travel. Radiance spread out from every person's body. The radiance soon linked together, but it started to waver and lose its stable state. Bam! There was a crack as the light dissipated, turning into countless little sparks that filled the sky. Fairy Miao Yin groaned, her face flushed red as she suffered the heaviest injury this time. Fang Yuan did not suffer any injuries, he activated man as before and healed Fairy Miao Yin first. Our movements need to be united. Again, after a while, Fang Yuan said while clapping his hands. Ancient battle formation, omnidirectional travel. Another failure. He Lulan gave a muffled groan, her brows slightly furrowed, and a trace of pain flashed past her beautiful face. After resting again, Fang Yuan said, let's adjust a little, follow my movements and then move accordingly. Understood. The three women nodded without a sound. After a while, although Fang Yuan had to taste the bitter fruit of failure again, the progress was much better than before. Good. Fang Yuan's eyes shined. The crucial key to successful activation of the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel was closely united movements of all parties. After all the initial suffering and hard work, they finally started to find rhythm. But, right at this time, the formation suddenly emitted a thunderous sound. Not good, there are several immortal GU houses above the earth trench. A pure dream reality seeker body who was in charge of controlling the GU formation hurried over to report. At once, all the female immortals' gazes gathered on Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was Shadow Sect's leader, they were waiting for Fang Yuan's decision. Quite fast, but no worries. Fang Yuan smiled. This situation is within my expectations. We will follow the plan. Yes. The pure dream reality seeker body quickly retreated. Continue. Fang Yuan said to the female immortals. Immortal GU houses have locked onto plunder Shadow Earth Trench, we have limited time, we need to hurry. Inside clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building, Wu Yong was looking down at plunder Shadow Earth Trench through the windows. After observing for a while, a sharp light flashed past his eyes. This super GU formation is quite profound. The creator used the natural Dao marks in the Earth Trench to construct an immortal GU formation with just large numbers of mortal GU. There are shadow monsters as well. Amazing, this scale is enormous, they have all been gathered into one area by this super GU formation. Chao Ji Kai exclaimed from the side. At this time, Kai Kuyu's excited voice came from within Kai clan's immortal GU house. Good formation, how about letting this old man deduce this formation's weakness and break it? No need. Wu Yong lightly refused, this extermination trip should be finished quickly. Just this GU formation, so what? Even if there were several times more shadow monsters, they won't be able to block our immortal GU house's attacks. As he said this, Wu Yong paused, before sending a command, everyone, attack. Clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building immediately took the lead, charging down amidst the fierce wind. It killed all the shadow monsters on its way, paving a path of massacre and chaos. Southern Borders GU immortals were visibly shocked as they looked at this sight. Clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo buildings might had greatly surpassed their expectations. This is Wu clan's might. Many GU immortals sighed internally, as if they were seeing a scene of the past where Wu Dushu fought her way through all. Wu Yong was of Wu clan's bloodline in the end, ferocity was already deep within his blood and bones. At once, the southern border GU immortals felt a sense of invigoration in their hearts. Kill, charge, kill these demonic scoundrels. Several immortal GU houses rampaged like unstoppable beasts, the countless layers of shadow monsters felt like weak sheep in contrast. Cries of massacre had already reached Fang Yuan's ears, and they were getting louder. Fairy Miao Yin's expression changed slightly. He Lulan took several glances at Fang Yuan, but Fang Yuan showed no reaction. Bai Ningbing was still aloof and indifferent. The super GU formation would not be able to stop the intense attacks of several immortal GU houses, and would collapse in a short while. The highest cultivation of the shadow monsters was only rank 7, and they were already killed or had dispersed in all directions. Just as Southern Borders GU immortals were advancing boldly into the cave, the pure dream reality seeker bodies stood up. Bam bam bam, a series of self-detonations resounded, dream realms formed instantly. This move again, retreat. Yi Clan GU Immortals had suffered from this move before, they immediately retreated far away with Bay Pavilion. Other Immortal GU houses also had no choice but to stop, and look on from the side. The Dream Realms had formed into an all-around defense over Fang Yuan and the others. Wu Yong and the rest had complex expressions, how could they break through such a defensive line? It was as if they were being bullied for being ignorant in Dream Path. These Righteous Path GU Immortals, who had been advancing with surging momentum, were dumbfounded. Wu Yong suddenly chuckled. Having to use such a defense means Shadow Sect is already at its wit's end. They are blocking us, but we are also trapping them inside. Let me see how long they can keep this defense. Both sides were in a stalemate. Right at this time, Wu Yong's expression changed slightly as he received a letter GU. It was from Heavenly Court. Chapter 1382, Wu Yong's Anger and Hatred. In the Battle of the Dream Realm, Shadow Sect lost entirely, and Southern Border's Righteous Path similarly suffered devastating losses. They lost the Super GU formation they had arranged, the Immortal GU each clan had offered, as well as countless Mortal GU. They had invested so much, but their earnings were so little. Moreover, in the exploration of the Dream Realm, they had suffered direct attacks and lost several GU Immortals. The true profiteer, besides Fang Yuan who had become Shadow Sect's leader, was Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court had not only captured Spectral Soul's main body, they had also walked away with the remaining second and first layer of the Super GU formation. The Immortal GU inside these two layers all belonged to Southern Border's Righteous Path, besides Dark Limit Immortal GU which belonged to Fang Yuan. Southern Border's Righteous Path was extremely indignant at such behavior, they wanted to demand an explanation from Heavenly Court. After all, they all belonged to the Righteous Path, Heavenly Court's actions were too unreasonable. When they had just started chasing after Fang Yuan and the others, Wu Yong had also started looking for Heavenly Court's GU Immortals. Although Southern Border and Central Continent were two different regions, super forces often transacted with each other. The credit for this went to Treasure Yellow Heaven. It was because of Treasure Yellow Heaven that GU Immortals could transact easily and more often with each other. Continuous circulation of goods meant frequent exchange and communication. As such, Wu Yong was able to look for Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects without much obstruction. However, he was not able to contact Heavenly Court's GU Immortals. If he could not interrogate Heavenly Court, just tangling with the 10 great ancient sects would not solve their problems. Fairy Z-Wei, Wu Yong mumbled while holding an information path Mortal GU. He had not expected Heavenly Court's GU Immortals to take the initiative to seek him out. And this hidden Heavenly Court Wisdom Path GU Immortal had used just a mere information path Mortal GU to put Wu Yong in a difficult spot. The contents of this information path Mortal GU were about Fang Yuan and the others. Heavenly Court had information about Ying Wu Xie, Purple Mountain True Monarch, Bai Ning Bing, Fang Yuan and the rest. Including the information that they possessed on the ancient battle formation, omnidirectional travel. The information that shocked Wu Yong the most was, the real Wu Yihai was long since dead, the person who had mixed into Wu clan is, Wu Yihai, was the otherworldly demon Fang Yuan. It was actually like this. Fang Yuan is Wu Yihai, Wu Yihai is Fang Yuan. Wu Yong had still been thinking about saving his little brother, but now, he found that his half-sibling had died long ago, and the enemy had been disguising as him all along. Wu Yong first felt shock at this information, after all, this was beyond his expectations. He then felt anger towards Fang Yuan. This blasted criminal was the true killer of Wu Yihai, and was actually so audacious that after committing the murder, not only did he not escape, he joined Wu clan instead. This was simply a slap towards the entirety of Wu clan, including Wu Yong. More importantly, Fang Yuan had managed to pull it off perfectly. This was a disgrace, a humiliation. Fang Yuan not only looked down on the great Wu clan, he still ran to Wu clan and gave them resounding slaps. What kind of force was Wu clan? Southern Border's publicly recognized #1 Righteous Path force. What kind of person was Wu Yong? Wu Yong was the current person in charge of Wu clan, he was the first supreme elder with rank 8 cultivation, he was a powerhouse with a number of rank 8 immortal GU and even possessed an immortal GU house. Fang Yuan's action was simply toying with Wu clan and Wu Yong like they were a joke. However, besides anger towards Fang Yuan, Wu Yong was also furious at Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court had taken away all the immortal GU of Wu clan from the Super GU formation, this was one reason. The second was that Heavenly Court had sent this information to Wu Yong. What did this imply? They were telling Wu Yong wordlessly, we have blackmail material on your Wu clan, you should consider your next course of action properly. As far as Wu Yong was concerned, this was a threat. Why was it that information of Fang Yuan being disguised as Wu Yihai was a threat to Wu Yong? This was the difference between the righteous path and demonic path. The righteous path had its own rules. The righteous path paid attention to reputation and face. Even if they took something by force, they would need a proper reason. They all needed to stand on the side of righteousness. Previously, many clans created difficulties for Wu clan, seizing Wu clan's resource points. How did Wu clan do it? They first sent one of their GU immortals to pretend to be a demonic scoundrel, while another Wu clan GU immortal pretended to chase him down, and with this reason, they forcibly occupied the resource point. How did Yang clan do it? They had planned and prepared for a long time. They first inserted themselves in a nearby mortal village of Wu clan, then through the friction and contradictions between the mortals, they obtained justification. Wu Yang clearly had high battle strength, and also possessed clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building. Why did he have to act so passively before? This was Wu Yang's scheme. He knew Wu clan had an enormous territory. If he directly showed his strength, other clans would only be wary and perhaps restrain themselves, but they would still be itching to take action. After all, Wu clan only had one rank 8 GU immortal. But if Wu clan passively defended first, letting other clans bully it, Wu Yang could later retaliate with justification and sufficient excuses, and get a bite out of every clan. Only like this would every force remember the pain, and not dare to infringe upon Wu clan's might for several decades. This was Wu Yang's plan. Even his closest aide, Wu Fa, was not aware of this. In fact, before this, everything had been gradually progressing according to Wu Yang's plan. It was just that he had not expected the appearance of a disruptor like Shadow Sect. The demon Fang Yuan had mixed into Wu clan, and even Wu Yang himself treated Fang Yuan as his own brother. Don't forget that before this, Wu Yang had used Wu Yihai many times to elevate his reputation by showing care for him. Such a matter had happened to Wu clan, which was the #1 righteous path force of southern border. This would absolutely lower their reputation sharply, and even cause other clans to have thoughts of turning on them. Wu Yang had wanted to use his planned excuses to get back at the other clans. But with this matter, as long as southern border's great clans stubbornly pressed on this issue, Wu clan's prestige would be gone. Your Wu clan is the head of southern border's righteous path, but a demon mixed in and even left unharmed. What face does your Wu clan have to command the righteous path? What qualifications does your Wu clan have to occupy these resources? Are you occupying these resources so you can supply them to the demons you are hiding inside your clan? On Earth, this was akin to when celebrities were discovered to have taken drugs, successful people who always proclaimed they loved their family were found to have extramarital affairs, or when traitorous undercover agents were found within the police force. Prestige could not be seen and could not be touched, but it was indeed a kind of strength that could influence all aspects. The way Wu Yang saw it, those resource points Wu clan lost were nothing. Since they could be lost, he could also seize them back. In truth, he was trying to take the opportunity to elevate his prestige, show his powerful strength, and leave behind his story in the history of southern border. However, this changed because of Fang Yuan. Once this matter was found out, it would be a huge blow to Wu clan. The prestige and reputation that countless generations of Wu clan members had built and maintained painstakingly would suffer enormous damage. Once this matter was spread, what face would Wu Yang still have to go seize back the lost resource points? Wu clan would not be able to raise its head for a long period of time. This damned Fang Yuan. Wu Yang clenched his teeth. He had never hated a person to this extent. It was actually quite ironic. He had himself to blame for using Wu Yihai to increase his reputation, by showing his benevolence and familial love. But the result, this familial love would turn into Wu Yang's incompetence for being toyed around by Fang Yuan. This was a lifetime stain on Wu Yang. This blasted fairy Ziwei. Wu Yang was full of hatred towards this female wisdom path immortal of heavenly court as well. Her intention was clear. By informing Wu Yang of this, she was warning Wu Yang, as well as using him as a tool to make him do his best to eliminate Fang Yuan and the others. Wu Yang had to kill Fang Yuan. As long as he secretly killed Fang Yuan, Wu Yihai's death could be blamed on Shadow Sect. It was undoubtedly logical. By then, even if heavenly court exposed this matter, Wu Yang would have nothing to fear. This matter also would not be his life's disgrace. Fairy Ziwei. Wu Yang mumbled this name. He knew clearly that Fairy Ziwei wanted him to exert himself to kill Fang Yuan and the others. She was blatantly using him. Yet Wu Yang had no choice but to do it. Most importantly, this letter GU from Fairy Ziwei only had information about Fang Yuan and Shadow Sect. It did not have any words of negotiation or threat towards Wu Yong. This made Wu Yong unable to grasp any information that could be used against Fairy Ziwei. Lord Wu Yong, what happened? Chao clan's first supreme elder, Chao Jikai, asked with concern when he saw Wu Yong's expression turning odd. Wu Yong glanced at him, immediately feeling hatred towards him as well. It was this old geezer, ordering Chao clan to cling onto and climb up my Wu clan. Without him, how could Fang Yuan have joined my Wu clan so easily? On the surface, however, Wu Yong smiled, speaking warmly to Chao Jikai. It is nothing, I was just concerned about my brother, who knows what would happen to him in Shadow Sect's hands. Chao Jikai felt strange inwardly, there were no outsiders here, why was Wu Yong still concerned about Wu Yihai? Why was he acting like this? Previously, Wu Yong's concern over Fang Yuan was just a show, but it was real this time. His concern over Fang Yuan now was the desire to kill him immediately. You still cannot contact Wu Yihai. Wu Yong secretly contacted Wu Clan's GU Immortals back at headquarters. The group of Immortals were silent. Among them, one spoke. The last time we communicated with Lord Wu Yihai was when he borrowed GU from the clan. Another continued. Lord Wu Yihai has 6 immortal GU he borrowed from the clan, nothing must happen to him. Wu Yong's anger immediately flared by several degrees. He had personally approved Fang Yuan's request of borrowing these 6 immortal GU from the treasury. Moreover, there was still the provision of 100,000 immortal essence stones. Wu Yong himself had taken the initiative to give them to Fang Yuan. Wu Yong really wanted to slap himself. At the same time, his hatred towards Fang Yuan deepened even more. It was this guy really could act. Even at the verge of being exposed, he still did not forget to reap profits. Truly insidious and extremely crafty. I, the Grand Wu Yong, was actually scammed by this guy. Chapter 1383. Hidden Confrontation. Wu Yong had considered that Heavenly Court might have sent false information. However, Fairy Ziwei had provided a lot of evidence. Moreover, back then, after Fang Yuan had changed his appearance, many southern border GU Immortals had witnessed him leaving the battlefield with Hei, Bai and other Immortals on the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. Wu Yihai's disappearance was too sudden and strange. If Wu Yihai was Fang Yuan, then everything could be explained. Send over Wu Yihai's Life Tablet GU and Soul Lantern GU through Treasure Yellow Heaven. Also, Wu Fa, take out some immortal GU from the treasury for me. Wu Yong was looking at the layers of dream realms through the window, while secretly sending his orders. At the same time, he said to the faraway Kai Kuyu, Kai Clan First Supreme Elder, please construct a formation around this area to prevent the enemy from escaping with spacepath methods. Oh, the enemy has such a method. Kai Kuyu was surprised. Before nodding, I can arrange a GU formation to disturb spacepath transportations, but I don't have enough immortal GU with me. No worries. Wu Yong laughed. Right now, we have so many allies with us, no need to worry about not having enough immortal GU. No one retorted to Wu Yong. All of them followed Kai Kuyu's request and looked at what immortal GU they had that could be arranged into a GU formation. If they truly did not have the required GU, they could get them sent over with the help of Treasure Yellow Heaven. Despite the huge cost of doing so. But after Fang Yuan had started this trend, Southern Borders GU Immortals had already started to imitate it. Fang Yuan soon found out about the matter of Wu Clan transporting GU worms to Wu Yong. After all, Treasure Yellow Heaven was extremely open, any immortal GU transaction could cause a huge commotion. These immortal GU, they are almost all from Wu Clan's treasury. Looks like they are transporting them through Treasure Yellow Heaven. There are also my Life Tablet GU and Soul Lantern GU. HMPH. Fang Yuan immediately had a bad premonition. Unfortunately, he could do nothing to stop it even after knowing this. Transactions in Treasure Yellow Heaven were extremely safe. Fang Yuan had once relied on this aspect, but now, his enemies were using this advantage. Soon, Fang Yuan's information path Mortal GU received Wu Yong's message. Wu Yihai, or should I call you Fang Yuan? We can discuss and do a transaction. Use your immortal GU to buy your life. How about it? Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk. Looks like Heavenly Court has exposed this secret. Those GU worms must have been all sent to Wu Yong's hands. Directly threatening me to buy my life. It seems he should have some method. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan stopped training with the other GU Immortals. All of you continue practicing, I need to deal with a slight annoyance. Throwing out these words, he immediately stepped aside and began to activate Reverse Flow Protection Seal. Inside Wu Yong's immortal aperture, GU worms flew one after another like layers of clouds, almost covering the sky of the aperture. This is the signature killer move that Wu Clan 1, a former super clan of Southern Border, had used to inflict darkness and terror to Southern Border's GU immortal world. After my Wu Clan obtained it, we have been keeping it a secret, worried that we would be excluded by the joint forces of the other clans should they find out. Now, Fang Yuan, have a taste of it. Cold light erupted in Wu Yong's eyes. The immortal killer move activated. However, using his methods, he restrained the aura of the killer move. Even Chao Ji Kai, who was standing beside him, did not sense it. At the next moment, Wu Yong's expression changed, his body shook fiercely as he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. Lord Wu Yong, what's wrong? Chao Ji Kai was pale with fright, quickly running over to support Wu Yong. How could this be? Fortunately, I only wanted to warn and probe, and did not use its full might. Wu Yong was filled with shock, he had clearly targeted Fang Yuan, but he was the one who suffered. Wu Yong lightly shook off Chao Ji Kai's hand. His expression quickly recovered, coughing a few times. No worries. It is a hidden injury from my battle at the Purple Blood River Formation. Chao Ji Kai immediately showed a moved and admirable expression. Lord Wu Yong hurried over to save his little brother, disregarding his injuries. You are truly the model example of our righteous path. Wu Yong. He was silent for a moment, before saying to Chao Ji Kai, you are amazing. How could Chao Ji Kai have expected Wu Yong's words to be sarcastic? He was still thinking his flattery had worked and was inwardly feeling pleased. Wu Yong's injury was because of Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal. Reverse flow river's water has decreased a little. Wu Yong indeed has some kind of terrifying method that can directly attack my physical body through my life tablet GU and soul lantern GU. It's a pity he encountered my reverse flow protection seal, and his killer move was completely reflected back. Fang Yuan let out a breath of air, and started thinking, this is a little strange. Since Wu Yong knows I am Fang Yuan, how could he not have considered my reverse flow protection seal? Could it be he does not know my other identity, Lu Guanyi? Did Heavenly Court not inform him? Or maybe, even Heavenly Court does not know of it. Fang Yuan thought of the dream realm. This time, his identity had been exposed because the external manifestation of the giant dream realm was invaded by Heaven's will. He had entered the dream realm many times to explore, and when his soul entered the dreams, it was without the disguise of familiar face and dark limit immortal GU. As such, Heaven's will could see his true body and find his location. If it was like this, then Lu Guanyi's identity had not been exposed. Damn it! Fang Yuan's heart suddenly sank when he thought of this. I have activated reverse flow protection seal now, and with the investigative killer move on me, am I not telling others that I am Lu Guanyi? Whether or not Heavenly Court discovered this identity before, now that I have activated reverse flow protection seal, they definitely know of it. This was a small hidden confrontation. A brand new battle. It involved three sides, Fang Yuan, Wu Yong and Heavenly Court. Wu Yong suffered backlash from his own method, but his injuries were not serious. Fang Yuan did not suffer any injuries, but had exposed a lot of information. Heavenly Court was manipulating from behind the scenes, making Wu Yong and Fang Yuan fight each other, without using their own strength. This was Fairy Ziwei's scheme. This Heavenly Court Wisdom Path GU Immortal grasped crucial clues and information, and immediately displayed her powerful scheming ability. Moreover, she handled it with extreme finesse. Wu Yong sent another letter to Fang Yuan, but Fang Yuan paid no more attention to it. The training of the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel finally showed results and they were getting closer to success. However, Fang Yuan had now become a burden. He needed to maintain reverse flow protection seal at all times to guard against Wu Yong's attacks. His focus was mostly placed on this, and so, it was difficult to pay attention to omnidirectional travel. However, after Fang Yuan intentionally slowed down the pace, they were finally able to activate it little by little. A resplendent radiance illuminated their surroundings. The light quickly dissipated, Fang Yuan and the rest had disappeared from the spot. The intense turbulence of space path was more or less sensed by the southern border GU immortals outside the dream realm. They have left. Maybe, one or two are left behind. Wu Yong was not surprised. But our GU formation has yet to be constructed fully. They actually had such methods. Why didn't they use it earlier on? It definitely has some serious flaws. Chao Ji Kai guessed. Kai Kuyu stroked his beard. No worries. Although my super GU formation has not been arranged perfectly, it has produced some results. I believe that right now, they should have already been separated. Many southern border GU immortals were clueless, but Wu Yong did not stint on his praise. Kai clan's first supreme elder is truly formidable. Since Wu Yong knew Fang Yuan and the rest had omnidirectional travel, he had predicted they would use this method to escape. How could he not have arranged a method to deal with it? He had already secretly transmitted the information to Kai Kuyu and had him arrange a countermeasure against it. Kai Kuyu was a rank 8 GU Immortal, a formation path Great Grand Master. With a concrete goal and information, he could make an appropriate response. Huff. Bai Ningbing had just stepped on the ground. When she coughed out a large mouthful of blood, she felt exhausted and her face was deathly pale. This is not our intended destination. Bai Ningbing's dragon pupils slightly shrunk. She quickly contacted the others. The ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel had been disrupted. The Shadow Sect GU Immortals were separated, far from each other. Besides Fang Yuan, each of them were injured to some degree. What should we do, sect leader? Fairy Miao Yin quickly inquired. Fang Yuan hesitated. Should he escape by himself using the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle? Or should he waste time to regather the Shadow Sect Immortals? By now, the pure dream reality seeker bodies had basically all detonated into dream realms back in Plunder Shadow Earth Trench. There were still a few who were left in the immortal apertures of Heilu Lan and the others, including Ying Wuxie, who was in Lady White Rabbit's immortal aperture. Dream realms were invaded by Heaven's will. The pure dream reality seeker bodies were also paid attention to by Heaven's will at all times. Keeping them near oneself was the same as leaking their location. However, pure dream reality seeker bodies could self-detonate into dream realms at crucial times and be used to obstruct immortal GU houses. As such, Fang Yuan was keeping them with him. The investigative killer move on him had not been broken. There was also his life tablet GU and soul lantern GU, which were in Wu Clan's hands. More importantly, Wu Clan actually had methods to attack Fang Yuan through them. The situation could be said to be extremely bad and dangerous. It was difficult for Fang Yuan to deal with even one immortal GU house. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was not reliable. Although it had rank 8 strength, it would not risk its life if it encountered a strong enemy. Fang Yuan's control over it had yet to be improved. Dark Limit Immortal GU was also lost. Heaven's will could now monitor Fang Yuan at all times and easily make arrangements. Moreover, they might also have been struck by investigative methods as well. Fang Yuan's gaze turned gloomy. After coming out of Plunder Shadow Earth Trench, Fang Yuan's next destination was Western Desert. Among the 5 regions, Western Desert had the highest quantity of Shadow Sect's remaining resources. Because Ying Wuxie, Purple Mountain True Monarch and the others had traveled the other 4 regions, and plundered all the remaining resources and immortal GU that they could plunder. Only Western Desert remained. Should I go to Western Desert alone? It is a pity to sacrifice them like this. Also, as long as I don't break the investigative method on me, my whereabouts will always be grasped by others. Langya Sect, Chapter 1384, Respective Trials. Rumble, air currents surged and great waves billowed. Glorious radiance shined, creating a magnificent scene. From within the light, a figure gradually walked out. He was extremely tall, about 9 feet, with a well-built body. He had long and dense black hair that draped behind him like a cloak, slightly waving as he walked forward. The most eye-catching part was this GU Immortal had a pair of spiral dragon horns on his forehead, which seemed to be made of purple gold, shining brightly. Fairy Ziwei had already waited for a long time. She went up and bowed with joy. Lord Duke Long. This person was none other than Duke Long. He had personally led the Central Continent Immortals in Heaven Overseeing Tower, becoming the biggest winner of the Battle of the Dream Realm. Heaven Overseeing Tower was extremely fast. It returned to Central Continent after quickly crossing 2 regions in White Heaven. The Immortals of Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects left by themselves, while Duke Long and Fairy Ziwei returned to Heavenly Court. As per Duke Long's instructions, Fairy Ziwei activated Heavenly Court's GU formation to screen Duke Long's identity and prevent him from being possessed by Spectral Soul. From the current situation, it looked like Spectral Soul did not succeed in possession, and Duke Long was still Duke Long. But, his face was ashen, his brows were deeply knotted, and every step he took, his soul felt a tremor. As expected of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, even after death, his soul path attainment is still unrivaled. I will use our Heavenly Court's immortal graveyard to thoroughly suppress him. Duke Long said, Fairy Ziwei, you shall continue to lead Heavenly Court, do your best to completely eliminate Fang Yuan and the rest. Fairy Ziwei nodded. I have already notified Wu Yong and have borrowed the strength of Southern Borders GU Immortals to separate Fang Yuan and the rest of Shadow Sect members. Not long ago, I sent another letter to Wu Yong, informing him of the specific location of these Shadow Sect members. I estimate, we will receive news of success within a few days. Duke Long nodded lightly, a trace of admiration flashing past his eyes as he looked at Fairy Ziwei. This was the incredible power of a wisdom path Gu Immortal. They could pry into the secrets of heaven and earth with just one event. They could appraise people's hearts, and make others fight for them while they watch from far away. Fairy Ziwei herself had extraordinary talent, and was an elite among rank 8 Gu Immortals. This was the reason why she had been accepted into Heavenly Court. And with the use of Star Constellation chessboard, she could be said to be among the top 3 wisdom path experts in the present. The reason why she could not be said to be number 1, was because the world was vast, there were many experts who lived in seclusion. Even Heavenly Court did not know the specific details. Chaos had to descend, the world had to be turned upside down, before these experts made their appearance. Previously, Fairy Ziwei had not been able to make many achievements because she lacked crucial clues. At that time, Fang Yuan's defense was too good. But it was different now. Duke Long continued to instruct, "This demon Fang Yuan, we must take his life. He is a complete otherworldly demon, the only natural enemy of Fate Gu. But, he is also the long-awaited inheritor of Red Lotus. He not only has Giant Sun's true inheritance, but also will gain Red Lotus, true inheritance. The great era is coming, our Heavenly Court needs to have our 4th Immortal Venerable, Great Dream Immortal Venerable. To receive and guide her, we need to put in all our effort to remove all obstacles. Fang Yuan, Giant Sun, Red Lotus, all of them. Everything is for Great Dream Immortal Venerable. Ziwei, do you understand?" "I understand." Fairy Ziwei nodded. "Just like you arranged, that person is now in southern border." "Good." Duke Long nodded. He did not speak any further, turning around and leaving. Fairy Ziwei stood on the spot, quietly seeing off Duke Long with her gaze, until his tall body completely disappeared into the immortal graveyard. She slowly breathed out a sigh, her eyes glittering as she thought of the huge task. Heavenly Court is to be the strongest. For all eternity, she softly mumbled. Southern border. A white figure quickly streaked through the air. Soon after, thunder and fire arrived, exploding in a line behind the figure. It was a small error, but it resulted in a large discrepancy. The white figure dodged in time, coming out safe and sound. It then stopped and casually waved backwards. Whoosh! In an instant, ice and snow flew, and cold wind roared. A figure came out of the thunder and fire, and had wanted to chase, but it quickly stopped and used defensive methods. Several breaths later, this small valley turned into a land of ice and snow. Ice crystals could be seen everywhere, shining brightly under the sunlight while releasing cold air. Having rank 6 cultivation level but rank 7 battle strength. Terrifying, truly worthy of a northern dark ice soul physique Gu Immortal. Chai Clan rank 7 expert Chai Po Jun inwardly praised, before increasing his strength. Bam! The thick ice that had formed on his body could not resist his fierce power, immediately shattering into pieces. He was thin and shriveled, his skin was slightly black as if he had been forged in iron, his fierce eyes staring at his opponent, who was standing on a high slope. His opponent was dressed in white, and had an extremely graceful figure. Bright silver hair flowed down to her waist. Her pale blue dragon eyes emitting a cold aura to the outside world. Her skin was white as snow, her expression was cold, and with an unparalleled appearance, even Chai Po Jun's soul was stirred when he first saw this beauty. The more eye-catching part was the pair of small and cute red dragon horns that were growing on this female immortal's forehead. She was Dragon Lady Bai Ningbing. She had activated the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel with Fang Yuan and the rest, but because of Kai Kuyu's Gu formation, the battle formation was disrupted and the Gu immortals were separated in all directions. Bai Ningbing had been teleported to this place and had immediately treated her injuries. She then moved towards the gathering point which Fang Yuan had set, but was intercepted by Chai Po Jun. An intense battle began as a result. They fought for dozens of rounds and had battled through hundreds of li, but were unable to determine a victor. Two pairs of eyes gazed at each other. Chai Po Jun did not immediately initiate the attack. Bai Ningbing stared at Chai Po Jun's skin with her blue dragon eyes, pondering, this is the neutralized wood body created by Chai Po Jun. Even if it is an immortal killer move attacking this body, as long as they are not powerful enough, their strength will be sharply reduced and end up at the level of a mortal killer move. Chai Po Jun's neutralized wood body was a unique move, it directly destroyed Bai Ningbing's Cold Eyes immortal killer move. Bai Ningbing's Cold Eyes immortal killer move was a move that was quite troublesome to deal with. In the past, Fang Yuan had been struck by this move when he was chasing Ying Wuxie and the rest. However, Chai Po-jun's neutralized wood body could directly disregard cold eyes. Naturally, Bai Zhang's true inheritance did not just have cold eyes. As such, while fighting with Bai Ningbing, Chai Po-jun had been inflicted with quite a few injuries. Amazing. Chai Po-jun suddenly spoke. I have to hand it to you, Bai Ningbing. His tone was flat, without any fluctuation in his pitch. In this silent battlefield, this strange tone seemed to fade into the cold air. You are only a rank 6, but I am actually finding trouble dealing with you. I have been famous for a long time, and have long been a reputed rank 7 fire path expert in southern border. But look at me now, I am actually unable to dispel this frost energy on me. One of the 10 extreme physiques, Northern Dark Ice Soul physique, as well as Bai Zhang's true inheritance, it really makes people envious. If you were kind and walk the righteous path, you would definitely have a place in southern border's GU immortal world. A pity that you have fallen to the demonic path, bringing disaster to countless beings. Your ending can only be death. As he said this, Chai Po-jun paused, slightly turning his head to look at the horizon. Thunder rumbled, crackle, lightning spread far and wide, cleaving ice and rocks. Another rank 7 expert had suddenly descended. Bai Ningbing, you think you can escape after attacking southern border's righteous path? This expert's eyes shined fiercely as he bellowed. Chai Po-jun let out a breath of air when he saw the reinforcement. He had intentionally spoken a lot of superfluous words to stall for time. After fighting with Bai Ningbing, he deeply realized it was difficult for him to win against Bai Ningbing, let alone take her life. He needed backup. Fortunately, Wu Yong was in charge of the whole situation, and with Fairy Z Wei's swift information, he immediately dispatched GU Immortals to besiege the scattered Shadow Sect members. Be careful, this woman is extremely strong, we can't be careless. Relax, I have the information given by Lord Wu Yong. As long as we hold her here for some time, an expert specialized in battlefield killer moves will come to help us. Just as the two were secretly communicating, Bai Ningbing suddenly spoke. Her nature was cold as ice, she had remained silent during the whole battle. This was the first time she spoke. Idiots. It was a cold and arrogant voice, but at the same time, it was very pleasant to listen to, making the two rank 7 experts slightly dazed. At the next moment, Bai Ningbing suddenly erupted with a powerful aura. Damn, what immortal killer move is this? Its aura alone is so terrifying. I was delaying to wait for backup. I didn't expect Bai Ningbing to also be delaying for time so she could prepare her killer move. The backup's heart shook, while Chai Po-jun shouted and blamed himself for walking into a trap. There is the eerie fire tunnel ahead. As long as I enter it, I can guard against deductions and wait for help. He Lulan moved quickly. In her vision, trees turned into afterimages as she quickly moved past them. He Lulan had ended up in this place after the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel failed, but she had immediately received Fang Yuan's instructions to move to a hidden location about 100 li ahead and take refuge while waiting for others. Without doubt, He Lulan's luck was pretty good, as not far from her was the eerie fire tunnel. This was a formation set up by Purple Mountain True Monarch while he was alive. It was constructed with eerie fire immortal materials and had the effect of concealment by blocking wisdom path deductions. After a while of running, the eerie fire tunnel was already within 5 li. However, right at this time, He Lulan suddenly stopped. She gazed at the inconspicuous small tree ahead, her brows furrowed and all kinds of GU worm aura gradually rose from her body. You only saw my GU formation now, He Lulan, your vision is quite poor. A jesting voice came from nowhere. The next moment, the GU formation activated. He Lulan's vision suddenly changed, the mountains and grassy lands disappeared, only a desert remained where not even grass grew. He Lulan's pupils contracted. Being trapped in an immortal formation was the worst situation. If she had encountered an enemy, she could escape. But in a GU formation, she was caged. There was another thing He Lulan suspected. My speed was not slow. I have been moving according to Fang Yuan's instructions. The enemy actually knew my movement route, and also set up a GU formation earlier. Did Fang Yuan sacrifice me, luring the enemy to me so that he had time to escape? Chapter 1385. Fang Yuan's Judgment. Boom, a huge explosion occurred, flames raged everywhere. Scalding air currents gathered into a solid air wall that fiercely repelled everything. At once, yellow sand filled the GU formation, and smoke rose up. Dust gradually settled down, revealing a lone figure. It was He Lulan. She was gasping heavily, her body covered in a fiery dress. This gorgeous dress that was originally filled with flames now only had some bits of fire remaining. Even this move cannot destroy the GU formation. Sensing she was still inside the GU formation, He Lulan's heart sank to rock bottom. The fight had been ongoing for over an hour. He Lulan had used all her methods but was unable to destroy this GU formation. She was completely in a disadvantageous and passive state. In fact, during the whole fight, she did not even know what her opponent looked like. This southern border righteous path GU Immortal was controlling the GU formation from behind the scenes, and had never revealed himself. I must admit, He Lulan, you are really strong. It is a pity that you do not possess even a meager amount of formation path attainment. I will be honest with you, even if your battle strength doubled, you still won't be able to forcibly break my signature GU formation. As he said this, the formation path GU Immortal let out a long laugh of satisfaction. He Lulan snorted, sighing inwardly, I don't have much immortal essence left and I have used all my methods. To think that I, He Lulan, would finally die here. Oh, mother, I could not avenge you, although He tribe is already destroyed, He Cheng is still alive, this is my biggest regret. Right at this time, the formation path GU Immortal's laughter abruptly stopped. Damn it, he let out a shout in which his fright could be clearly heard. A chance, He Lulan roused herself. At the next moment, she saw the gray world of the GU formation suddenly brightening up with long rays of light. Sword light. The sword lights flashed by, but they left behind long lines of white marks in the dark sky. As the white marks rapidly enlarged, He Lulan heard a resonant dragon roar that quickly turned louder and louder until it was the only thing she could hear. He Lulan's mind jolted. She was extremely familiar with this dragon roar. She had a heavy impression of it. Because not long ago, He Lulan had been hunted down miserably by the creator of this sound, and was only able to barely survive with the combined strength of Ying Wuxie and the rest. Fang Yuan, He Lulan almost called out in joy. Never before had she felt Fang Yuan's dragon roar would sound so beautiful. The white sword marks were exceptionally conspicuous in the dark sky. The sword marks were enlarging rapidly, and like tearing open a mouth, bright light poured inside this enlarging mouth. No, that formation expert GU Immortal let out an unresigned cry. At the next moment, the immortal formation that made He Lulan suffer indescribably shattered loudly. Light filled her vision. He Lulan was on guard, her squinting eyes slowly opened up, and after adapting to the light, she saw Fang Yuan standing right beside her. And that southern border GU Immortal was being jointly attacked by Fairy Miao Yin and Black Tigress. I am safe. He Lulan immediately let out a breath of relief and relaxed her mind. The joy of escaping from death soon faded. She, who had an ambitious and ruthless nature, only glanced at Fang Yuan once, before sitting cross-legged on the ground and healing her injuries. As far as He Lulan was concerned, the situation just before was extremely dangerous. Her injuries were serious, proving that her life had been hanging by a thread. Fang Yuan did not help to heal her. Fang Yuan did not have any presentable healing method other than man as before. If it were Fang Yuan who was injured, apart from using man as before, he could also transform into an ancient desolate beast and rely on the ancient desolate beast's self-recovery ability to heal himself. But for He Lulan, this transformation path method was not feasible. The battle soon ended. Fairy Miao Yin and Black Tigress were rank 7 experts, and they were jointly attacking a rank 7 GU Immortal. They naturally had the advantage. And this rank 7 southern border GU Immortal's main cultivation was formation path. He was best at setting up GU formations, but close combat was his weakness. More importantly, his immortal formation had been destroyed by Fang Yuan. He suffered a backlash, immediately suffering heavy injuries. With injuries from both this and the attacks, this rank 7 GU Immortal quickly lost his life. This was a rank 7 formation path GU Immortal. They were rather rare. Fang Yuan stored the corpse in his sovereign immortal aperture and did not immediately annex it. He called out to the upper extreme heavenly eagle, "Go. We will reinforce Bai Ningbing." The group of immortals knew the urgency of the situation. With just a slight delay, they could be besieged by a large southern border group. It was because of this Fang Yuan did not hastily merge this corpse's immortal aperture into his sovereign immortal aperture, and instead hurried on the upper extreme heavenly eagle. By the time they saw Bai Ningbing, the battle had ended. In all the surroundings, it was a world of ice and snow. Bai Ningbing was in Bai Shang form, proudly standing on top of a snowy peak. And her opponents, 2 were dead and 1 was injured. Bai Ningbing actually won in a 1 versus 3. Bai Shang, right, this is the killer move Bai Shang. The killer move that once brought white terror to the whole of southern border. Who could have thought it would reappear in Bai Ningbing? The injured southern border GU Immortal was filled with fright, and used all his strength to retreat. But when he saw the upper extreme heavenly eagle appearing in the horizon, he almost lost hope. However, Fang Yuan did not chase him, instead taking Bai Ningbing and immediately leaving. Right now, they had become fugitives and had to fight for every second. They could not waste their precious time on this rank 7 GU Immortal. Since this rank 7 GU Immortal could escape death while his other two allies had already died, he definitely had methods to flee, and it would not be easy to kill him in a short time period. The upper extreme heavenly eagle changed directions, flying towards western desert. Bai Ningbing cancelled the killer move by Shang, and immediately collapsed on the eagle's back. She was already spent. The killer move by Shang was abnormally powerful, but it was very taxing on the mind and its consumption of immortal essence was also extremely fast. To Bai Ningbing, it was an extremely heavy burden. If that fleeing southern border GU Immortal had continued to fight, he might have been able to see through Bai Ningbing's facade. A pity he was frightened badly by Bai Shang. This immortal killer move was terrifying in all aspects. Its user could revive from just a small fragment. They were almost an invulnerable white monster. Unless someone could break this killer move, or kill Bai Ningbing instantly without leaving behind even a fragment. Bai Ningbing fell unconscious immediately after cancelling the killer move. If Fang Yuan and the rest had not come to her rescue, she might have died from mental exhaustion. Fortunately, Fang Yuan had a good knowledge of wisdom path methods and could heal this side effect. When Bai Ningbing slowly woke up, the upper extreme heavenly eagle had already flown over 100,000 li. You actually came to save me. Bai Ningbing gazed at Fang Yuan and spoke without any politeness, expressing her astonishment. Bai Ningbing could not be any more clear of Fang Yuan's nature, and had not even thought of being rescued by Fang Yuan. He Lulan was also doubtful of Fang Yuan's objective, and had previously wondered if Fang Yuan had sacrificed her. Bai Ningbing thought even further, and was sure Fang Yuan would sacrifice them and escape by himself. Fang Yuan glanced at Bai Ningbing expressionlessly and said lightly, "The situation is more serious than you imagine. We have all been struck by investigative killer moves. Which is why you were all intercepted by Southern Border Righteous Path GU Immortals when you were escaping." Although Fang Yuan had perceivable Dao Immortal GU, which could detect Dao marks on a GU Immortal's body, he was not aware of how many Dao marks other GU Immortals originally had. Without this number, even if Fang Yuan inspected the Dao marks on He Lulan, Bai Ningbing and the rest, what use would it have? However, from the enemy's actions, he could clearly see that they had also been struck by similar investigative killer moves. Which Southern Border GU Immortal was it? Fang Yuan, you are now Shadow Sect's leader and have inherited Purple Mountain True Monarch's inheritance, even you cannot break it. Bai Ningbing asked. I already tried. Fang Yuan sighed. He did not have all of Purple Mountain True Monarch's immortal GU, as many of them had been lost in battle. Although he had several good methods to deal with this situation, Fang Yuan could not use them without the respective immortal GU. He Lulan's gaze flickered when she heard this, immediately thinking of Langya sect. Since they did not have enough immortal GU, they could refine them, and she knew Fang Yuan's and Langya sect's relationship was extremely close. Fang Yuan could use the help of that connection. In fact, Fang Yuan had also wanted to do so. Not long ago, when he decided to rescue Bai Ningbing and the rest, he had contacted Sixth Hair. However, Sixth Hair did not acknowledge Fang Yuan's status. He was doubtful of Fang Yuan's motive and asked Fang Yuan to save Ying Wuxie. After all, only these two split souls remained of Spectral Soul. However, Ying Wuxie and Lady White Rabbit were both staying in Fairy Miao Yin's immortal aperture. This was one of the reasons why Fang Yuan went back to rescue them. Sixth Hair was not willing to cooperate, so Fang Yuan looked for Langya Land Spirit. What made Fang Yuan happy was that Langya sect and Langya Land Spirit were no longer difficult to communicate with like before. He only needed sect contribution points and he could borrow Langya sect's strength to refine GU. Fang Yuan handed some contents of Purple Mountain True Monarch's inheritances, causing his sect contribution points to sharply increase. He exchanged them for the chance of having Langya Land Spirit personally refine immortal GU for him. Under Fang Yuan's request, Langya Land Spirit used the human isolation style to refine GU instead of the hairy man heaven and earth style. Heaven's will was observing them. If the Land Spirit used the hairy man heaven and earth style, he might not be able to refine GU successfully no matter what because of interference from Heaven's wills. Although Langya sect had begun refining GU for Fang Yuan, GU refinement was a series of processes. Moreover, immortal GU were difficult to refine and could not be rapidly created. The situation is even more complex. I suspect Heavenly Court has already collaborated with Southern Border's Righteous Path to eliminate us. Heavenly Court is using Southern Border's Righteous Path as a tool, but they won't just watch from the sidelines the whole time. Besides the Southern Border Righteous Path GU Immortals, we need to be careful of Heavenly Court's GU Immortals lying in ambush and waiting for a chance to deal with us. Fang Yuan said in a heavy voice. Chapter 1386 Wu Yong's Arrival. Strong winds blew past. Below, luxuriant mountains steadily moved towards the rear like an endless herd of elephants. Fang Yuan and the group of GU Immortals, on the back of the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle, had no mood to enjoy this grand scene of rivers and mountains. They were in a perilous situation. The entirety of Southern Border's Righteous Path GU Immortals were trying to get them. There might even be lone immortals and demonic cultivators waiting to see if they could reap some benefits. They were unable to fight Southern Border's Righteous Path. Any rank 8 GU Immortal or Immortal GU house meant enormous trouble and danger to Fang Yuan and the rest. However, besides this, the most worrying thing was Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court had left after taking away the Super GU formation. Although Fang Yuan and the rest were not aware, the reason for this was for Duke Long to suppress Spectral Soul's main body. But even after leaving, Heavenly Court's influence still remained and their intention to eliminate Fang Yuan and the rest had not disappeared, instead it was getting even more intense. Fang Yuan's speculation was unitedly approved by He Lu Lan, Bai Ningbing and the others. If they were in Heavenly Court's position, they would also not let go of Fang Yuan and the group. Aside from leaking information to Southern Border's Righteous Path GU Immortals to make use of them, Heavenly Court would definitely have left some hidden cards to make sure nothing went wrong. However, their hidden cards were currently unknown. And the unknown creates pressure in people's minds. Heavenly Court's hidden cards were like an executioner's blade hanging above everyone's head, who knew when they would suddenly slash down. Even if Fang Yuan and the rest escaped to Western Desert, Heavenly Court's hidden cards might follow behind them. Heaven's will can actually infiltrate externally manifested dream realms. By exploring the dream realms, I was simply exposing my secrets. I was still constantly maintaining dark limit and familiar face to disguise myself, thinking I was deceiving Heaven's will. This was my biggest problem in this battle of the dream realm. Fang Yuan was standing on the eagle's back. Reverse flow protection seal had already been deactivated as maintaining it was very costly. Currently, Fang Yuan was using all kinds of investigative methods, including 3 breaths future vision. While inspecting his surroundings, he reflected on himself, finding his mistakes and errors. To err is human, making mistakes was a normal thing, even rank 9 venerables made many mistakes in their lives. One's vision was limited, being trapped in their nature, encumbered by their environment and other various reasons made it such that no one could make the best decisions all throughout their lives. After making a mistake, realizing the mistake and correcting it was the behavior of an outstanding person. If Fang Yuan had known this information earlier, he would absolutely not have casually explored the dream realms. Now that he recalled, Fang Yuan found many arrangements of Heaven's will. For instance, his gains in the giant dream realm were Grandmaster attainment level in Water Path, Formation Path and Dark Path. However, what Fang Yuan needed the most was an increase in the attainment level of Information Path and Time Path. If his Information Path attainment level rose, even if he did not have Information Path Immortal GU, he could gradually solve his problems. His Time Path attainment had all along remained at ordinary level. If it rose and was combined with He Fan's true inheritance, Fang Yuan's battle strength could definitely rise sharply. Even if it were not Information Path or Time Path, it would be very helpful if his attainment level in Sword Path, Refinement Path, Luck Path or Soul Path reached Grandmaster. Especially Sword Path. Fang Yuan currently had several Sword Path Immortal GU, and also had Bo Qing's true inheritance. If his Sword Path reached Grandmaster level, his battle strength would soar madly. Unfortunately, none of them appeared. At the latter stage of exploring the dream realm, I only encountered absurd dream realms. Heaven's will invaded the dream realms and controlled their rotation. It probably did not want me to progress anymore. In my memories of the 500 years of my first life, there was not any mention of dream realms being contaminated by Heaven's will. Maybe this was a secret no one had discovered yet in Fang Yuan's first life, but even more probable was that when Fang Yuan used Spring Autumn Cicada to rebirth, his will was tampered with by Heaven's will so that he forgot this information. I have lost Dark Limit Immortal GU. Right now, the others and I are exposed to Heaven's will. Fortunately, since the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle is extremely fast, Heaven's will does not have much time to make specific arrangements. Southern Border Righteous Path. Heavenly Court and Heaven's Will, these three were pursuing, encircling and intercepting as they tried to take Fang Yuan's life. However, Fang Yuan was not panicking. He meticulously planned and prepared as to how he could protect his life under this situation. In fact, after the destruction of 88 Truyong Building, Fang Yuan had been pondering over this matter. He had ample mental preparation. Being exposed now was far better than if he were exposed before. Because Fang Yuan had many hidden cards to deal with the situation. It depended on how he used them. Currently, he was using wisdom path methods, thoughts were emerging and colliding in his mind. He continuously played out various situations, how to resolve them and how to protect himself while expending the least resources. An immortal GU house is flying over from the southeast side. Bai Ningbing suddenly warned. She had inherited Bai Zhang's true inheritance. Her long-distance investigative methods were much more suitable for this situation than Fang Yuan's three breaths future vision. Shortly afterwards, Fairy Miao Yin's expression changed as well. I also see it, this is Hu Clan's Flying Sand Pavilion. She had a greater understanding of southern borders details, immediately recognizing the immortal GU house. Fairy Miao Yin immediately added in shock, they are so fast. Flying Sand Pavilion was one of the fastest immortal GU houses in southern border, it was even faster than the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. If Fang Yuan and the rest relied solely on the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle to escape, Flying Sand Pavilion would catch up to them sooner or later. However, Fang Yuan had already planned ahead and expected such a situation, so he had practiced the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel with the others. Although it had been disrupted by Kai Kuyu's GU formation, it was only a small setback. Right now, they had all gathered together and could use this method again. Flying Sand Pavilion was rushing between the mountains. This was its unique method, it could use Earth Path Dao marks to reduce the immortal essence expenditure and increase its speed. Undoubtedly, in southern border which was filled with mountains and forests, Earth Path Dao marks were extremely dense, Flying Sand Pavilion was like a fish in water. While moving at full speed, Flying Sand Pavilion was like rumbling sand, yellow-brown sand was constantly moving inside, while dust clouds surged on the outside. The GU immortals inside were not just from Hu Clan, there was also a rank 8 GU immortal, Sheng Wu Jia. Sheng Clan was among the top super forces in southern border, it naturally had a rank 8 GU immortal. Sheng Clan's first supreme elder Sheng Wu Jia had all along maintained the tradition of neutrality in Sheng Clan, and had good relations with all clans. If it were Yao Clan, Luo Clan or even Tai Clan, Hu Clan GU immortals would absolutely not have given them face and invited them into Flying Sand Pavilion. Suddenly, Sheng Wu Jia's expression shifted slightly as Fang Yuan and the rest suddenly disappeared from his perception. They used that ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel. Sheng Wu Jia's mind jolted, before a map of southern border appeared in his mind. After combining various information, Sheng Wu Jia soon deduced several areas where Fang Yuan and the rest were most likely to appear. And these areas all had southern border righteous path GU immortals. Wu Yong's plan is not bad, Sheng Wu Jia lightly remarked, but suddenly his brows furrowed. He realized that according to this layout, Fang Yuan and the rest would eventually be chased to the northwest of southern border. And over there, Wu Yong was already lying in wait. Clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building's speed could be ranked as number 1 among the current southern border's immortal GU houses. However, Wu Yong had used an immortal GU house of Tai Clan, Beacon Tower, to travel there. This immortal GU house was made of beacon towers scattered all over southern border, and it was by using this mystical immortal GU house that southern border's righteous path were able to quickly spread a large net. Fang Yuan and the rest were like large fish covered by this net. Swoosh! Under the sunny sky, 4 GU immortals suddenly appeared. They were Fang Yuan and the rest, who had teleported using omnidirectional travel. This is already the 5th time. A lot of my Dao marks have been consumed. This is not looking good, the enemy knows our position and has been encircling, pursuing and intercepting us, like they have laid out a large net and are now rapidly tightening it. Should we change our direction and catch them off guard? Bai Ningbing and the rest were discussing. Fang Yuan shook his head. The investigative killer move on us is the root cause, they will catch up to us sooner or later if we don't remove it. The current plan is to strive for every second and rush out of this net to Western Desert. They could go to Western Desert, Heavenly Court would not be able to easily mobilize Western Desert's righteous path to hunt Fang Yuan and the rest. Go! Fang Yuan let out the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle and ordered it to fly away. The true ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel could cross a very large distance. Unfortunately, Ying Wu Xia's method was not the complete version. And in the series of battles, the core immortal GU of omnidirectional travel were destroyed. What Fang Yuan and the rest were currently using was actually an incomplete omnidirectional travel. This incomplete omnidirectional travel not only had a shorter teleportation range, even worse was that it spent Dao marks of the GU immortals. Shadow Sect remnants, where do you think you are going? After flying for a distance on the upper extreme heavenly eagle, Fang Yuan and the rest suddenly heard Wu Yong's voice. What? Fairy Miao Yin immediately paled. Don't be afraid, this is just Wind Whisper Immortal GU. Fang Yuan snorted and reassured. Wind Whisper Immortal GU had an extremely large range. As long as it was activated continuously without caring for immortal essence expenditure, it could theoretically cover the whole of southern border. But soon, clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building appeared in the horizon. This rank 8 immortal GU house was alarmingly fast. Even though the upper extreme heavenly eagle was an immemorial desolate beast with first-rate flying speed, the distance between Fang Yuan and Wu Yong was rapidly shrinking. Use omnidirectional travel. Fang Yuan instantly knew this was bad. Although they were still far away, he firmly chose to activate the ancient battle formation. Facing a rank 8 GU immortal, he would not feel safe even if they were farther away. The upper extreme heavenly eagle was stored away. Omnidirectional travel was activated successfully. The 4 GU immortals suddenly disappeared from the spot. However, when Fang Yuan and the rest appeared again, their expressions were extremely unsightly. What's going on? We only teleported such a small distance. It is not even 10% of the previous distance. Wu Yong's voice resonated in the immortal's ears once again. You are trapped in my airlock. Omnidirectional travel will not work anymore. The voice had just been heard when clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building appeared in the horizon once again. The Shadow Sect immortals felt an enormous rock pressing down on them. An unprecedented danger was hanging above their heads. Rank 8 GU immortal Wu Yong, together with rank 8 immortal GU house clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building. Chapter 1387, Heavenly Eagle's Escape. Airlock. When were we hit by this killer move? I didn't feel anything at all. Shadow Sect's immortals were all taken aback. They were not aware when this killer move had struck them. If it were not for the subpar result of omnidirectional travel and the facts in front of their eyes, they would have thought Wu Yong was bluffing. Never underestimate a rank 8 GU immortal's methods. Wu Yong did not have high seniority. His seniority was even lower than most other rank 8 GU immortals in southern border. But he was well learned and talented, and having inherited Wu Dushu's legacy, he had plenty of available methods. Fang Yuan frowned deeply. How does this killer move, airlock, work? How long does it last? How can I find out flaws of this move and target them? His mind was rumbling like the sea as thoughts surged like huge waves. These questions perplexed him. More importantly, he had to resolve them quickly as it concerned his life. Clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building continued to approach closer. Wu Yong's laughter could be heard. He clearly would not give Fang Yuan enough time to think. The situation was extremely pressing. Fang Yuan needed to make a decision immediately. He thought for a moment and immediately sent his order. All of you enter my immortal aperture. Why? You are all too weak. You will just be sending yourselves to death by trying to fight a rank 8 GU immortal. It is better for you all to enter my immortal aperture and research airlock. Try to find a method to restrain it as quickly as possible. Fang Yuan spoke bluntly, and opened the entrance to his immortal aperture. The immortals looked at each other. But quickly, Lu Lan was the first to enter. If she did not need to send herself to death, it naturally was a good thing. Lu Lan had been worried Fang Yuan would use the alliance agreement on her to send her to face Wu Yong and sacrifice herself so Fang Yuan could get some time to escape for his life. But unexpectedly, Fang Yuan did not do so. Fairy Miao Yin and Black Tigress hesitated for a moment before following in. They had made their accomplishments because of Purple Mountain True Monarch's true inheritances, and were now Shadow Sect's members. However, the main reason for them accepting Fang Yuan's order was because Fang Yuan was Shadow Sect's leader. On the contrary, Bai Ningbing remained behind. She naturally was not concerned about Fang Yuan. Instead, her gaze turned towards Wu Yong and carried an expression of eagerness to fight him. Bai Ningbing chased after excitement in life. It was like Fang Yuan chasing after eternal life. This feeling burned like fire and could even be said to be madness. Don't be foolish. Even if you have Bai Shang form, Wu Yong could easily kill you in an instant. Fang Yuan's tone was impatient. Bai Ningbing snorted, but still entered the sovereign immortal aperture in the end. Fang Yuan quickly closed the entrance, then commanded the upper extreme heavenly eagle to fly quickly. Wu Yong's sigh came from behind. Fang Yuan, you are also an outstanding genius, you were actually able to hide in my Wu clan for so long under Wu Yihai's disguise. You are truly a daring person who will make great achievements. It is a pity, it would have been great if you really were Wu Yihai. Wu Yong's sigh was sincere, he really cherished talented individuals. Fang Yuan was fleeing ahead while Wu Yong was chasing from behind. The immemorial desolate beast upper extreme heavenly eagle erupted with an extremely fast speed under such a desperate situation. However, clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building was still faster than it. After all, it was a rank 8 immortal GU house. Clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building had another huge advantage, immortal GU houses would not get tired. As long as there was enough immortal essence, an immortal GU house could maintain a stable condition for eternity. However, the upper extreme heavenly eagle was different. It would get tired and fatigued after flying for a long time. However, Fang Yuan did not even consider this point. Because, according to the current speed of the two, long before the upper extreme heavenly eagle gets tired, clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building would catch up. Who else did you bring? Bring them all out. Fang Yuan turned towards Wu Yong, all kinds of GU worm auras quickly rose from his body and lingered around him. Relax, I came alone. Wu Yong smiled as he activated the immortal GU house. The verdant bamboo leaves on clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building turned into arrows as they shot towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan controlled the upper extreme heavenly eagle to swerve up and down, continuously flying in the air while adeptly dodging the arrows. Not bad, you have a solid foundation in flying. This enslavement path skill is even more amazing. Wu Yong did not stint on his praise. Fang Yuan realized something wrong. Light wind was lingering around his body, it could not be detected at first, but it was growing larger now. Not only him, even the upper extreme heavenly eagle's wings were entangled by 2 lumps of blue wind, greatly affecting its flying speed. Wu Yong's constant attacks are forcing me to dodge and change directions rapidly. Although the upper extreme heavenly eagle's speed has not decreased, clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building is moving in a straight line. There is also this air lump on me, it is probably the killer move airlock. It can actually absorb the scattered winds to increase its power. Wu Yong's attacks were not able to touch Fang Yuan, but had still achieved his objective. The distance between the two sides was rapidly shrinking. You still haven't found a way to break it? Fang Yuan questioned Shadow Sect members inside his immortal aperture. Difficult, there is only a little progress. This is clearly a rank 8 killer move, it is no trivial matter. Nothing but words. As Fang Yuan inwardly clenched his teeth, he heard Wu Yong's voice. You must be thinking of how to break my killer move, right? No harm in telling you, once this move is set up, it cannot be shifted, but its range is quite large and can cover all the surrounding 100,000 li. It also has a time limit, as of now, it can still last for 8 minutes. Wu Yong spoke honestly. Fang Yuan's heart sank at this information. Wu Yong's behavior clearly showed his strong self-confidence. He already felt Fang Yuan was in the palm of his hands, unable to escape. Clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building continued to attack endlessly, finally catching up. Wu Yong gave a slight smile as he lightly flicked his index finger towards Fang Yuan from the second floor window of the bamboo building. Immortal killer move, finger wind dragon. A crisp sound echoed. A dark jade worm flew out of his fingertips. The small worm shot at Fang Yuan with an extreme speed. While flying, it grew larger as its body expanded to 10 feet, 50 feet, 150 feet. After a few breaths of time, it turned into a vicious wind dragon that was 220 feet long, baring its fangs and claws as it fiercely collided against the upper extreme heavenly eagle. The upper extreme heavenly eagle was not able to react in time, and just as it was about to be struck by the finger wind dragon, Fang Yuan walked forward and actually took the initiative to collide against the finger wind dragon. Wu Yong felt astonishment that quickly turned into shock. Because after the finger wind dragon collided against Fang Yuan, it actually did no damage, and even more bizarre was that it turned its direction and flew back, lashing at him, its owner. Boom! There was a huge sound as the finger wind dragon collided against clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building. The immortal GU house shook intensely, its speed immediately decreasing by more than half. And the finger wind dragon had completely crumbled. Fang Yuan took the chance to get back on the upper extreme heavenly eagle and pull apart a large distance. Wu Yong saw Fang Yuan wearing a long robe, with a sash floating in the wind, while giving off an ethereal and majestic aura. Wu Yong's astonishment immediately reached an extreme level. This killer move, could it be? Wu Yong blurted out. Although he had not personally taken part in the Battle of Reverse Flow River in Northern Plains, The information of this battle as well as Lu Guanyi's name had become famous in the 5 regions. Wu Yong recognized this killer move, it was reverse flow protection seal. This meant he now knew the secret that Fang Yuan was Lu Guanyi and Lu Guanyi was Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan saw Wu Yong's surprise and inwardly thought, it seems Heavenly Court did not inform Wu Yong of my Lu Guanyi identity. Or maybe Heavenly Court was still not aware of it. Fang Yuan felt a slight pity, his Lu Guanyi identity was exposed now and could no longer be used, this would affect his connections in Northern Plains. However, there was nothing he could have done about this. Facing a rank 8 grade expert, Fang Yuan could only maintain his footing by using reverse flow protection seal. If he used other methods, he would be easily killed by Wu Yong. Although Wu Yong suffered a setback, his gaze towards Fang Yuan became incomparably fiery. Fang Yuan not only was Wu Yihai with Shadow Sect as his background, he also possessed reverse flow river and reverse flow protection seal. As long as he was captured, his accumulations and wealth could absolutely elevate Wu clan's strength to a whole new level. This enormous profit moved Wu Yong. Moreover, Fang Yuan was also the greatest humiliation to Wu clan over these years. Good, all my plans in mobilizing the entire righteous path to create this situation where I could fight you alone were not a waste. Wu Yong mumbled while controlling the Immortal GU house to bombard at Fang Yuan and give chase. The effect of airlock on Fang Yuan had been reflected back to Wu Yong. But the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was still plagued by it, while Wu Yong was inside clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building and was simply not affected. At this moment, Wu Yong controlled the Immortal GU house to collide against the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. Fang Yuan heaved a sigh as he moved forward to block the Immortal GU house. Wu Yong chuckled, and flew out of the Immortal GU house to face Fang Yuan. At the same time, Immortal GU house clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building targeted the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. Although Wu Yong was not inside clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building, he had left his will behind along with large amounts of immortal essence. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle quickly fell into a disadvantage against clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building. Fang Yuan's situation was even worse, he thoroughly experienced the power of a rank 8 GU Immortal. He was only able to react passively against Wu Yong's attacks and had no way to fight back. After 10 or so rounds, Wu Yong thoroughly experienced Fang Yuan's powerful defense. He got a headache dealing with reverse flow protection seal, as any attacks at Fang Yuan would only be reflected back, even punching and kicking. Wu Yong's gaze then landed on the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. This immemorial desolate beast was the critical point of this battle. Realizing this, Wu Yong split some attention to firmly suppress Fang Yuan, then used his immortal killer move to bombard the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle wailed in pain, it had an astonishing speed, but how could its master let it easily escape when he himself was trapped here? But an immemorial desolate beast had a tough physique, the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was still alive and healthy even after taking on Wu Yong's attacks. Not good, but at this moment, Fang Yuan's expression suddenly changed. Facing a powerful enemy, the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle's original will had been gradually taking control and was trying to flee for its life. Right at this moment, this will reached a qualitative change and broke free from the restraints of Fang Yuan's 180 slaves, it immediately shook its wings and escaped. Fang Yuan was thrown aside, and now had to face Wu Yong and clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building by himself. You still haven't made any progress. Fang Yuan called in an urgent tone towards the Shadow Sect immortals inside his immortal aperture. How can we have any results in such a short time? Bai Ningbing and the rest were also in low spirits. Wu Yong charged forward. With me here, don't even think of letting them out and using omnidirectional travel. Sure enough, in the following battle, he gave Fang Yuan no chance. After several more rounds, Wu Yong suddenly spread his arms, activating an immortal killer move which he had been preparing for a long time. Fang Yuan's vision suddenly changed, he was trapped in a strange battlefield and was unable to escape. If you give yourself up and offer all your cultivation accumulations, I can still spare your life, Fang Yuan. Wu Yong gave his ultimatum. Fang Yuan's expression was ashen. This was truly a hopeless situation. His only hope now was for Bai Ningbing and the rest to be able to find an opportunity to use omnidirectional travel and escape this battlefield. But, just as Wu Yong was about to make a move, his expression changed slightly as he looked at a certain direction. Who is it? Come out. A sigh was heard, following which, a GU immortal who was brimming with central continent aura appeared. Both Fang Yuan and Wu Yong were surprised at the sight of this person. You are Feng Juzhe. Chapter 1388. This is Feng Juzhe. A middle-aged GU immortal appeared in front of Fang Yuan and Wu Yong. This person was dressed in a red and white robe, standing straight like a spear or sword. His eyebrows were sharp like swords, mysterious light was flashing in his eyes, a gentle smile was on his face, and there was an elegant and invincible aura in him. But at this moment, his expression carried a trace of melancholy. He was a central continent GU immortal whose name was spread throughout the 5 regions, a pillar of spirit affinity house, a sound path rank 7 who could battle rank 8, he was Feng Juzhe. Why was he here? Wu Yong and Fang Yuan were surprised and astonished. Feng Juzhe's appearance and achievements had long spread throughout the 5 regions. Thus, although Wu Yong was seeing Feng Juzhe for the first time, he quickly recognized him. After all, a rank 7 GU immortal who could fight rank 8 was a peerless genius that was rarely seen even once in 1,000 years. Were it not for Fang Yuan's other identity, Lu Guanyi, Feng Juzhe would probably still be the only one to hold this achievement. Wu Yong quickly restrained his surprise and sneered at Feng Juzhe. A central continent GU immortal actually dares to appear in front of me. Good, good. In the battle of the Dream Realm, Heavenly Court reaped the most benefits, taking away many immortal GU from Southern Border's righteous path. Right now, Feng Juzhe was being implicated by this matter and provoked Wu Yong's hostility. Fang Yuan's gaze also focused on Feng Juzhe. This was not his first time seeing Feng Juzhe. In his first life of 500 years, Feng Juzhe's appearance had already been imprinted in the depths of his heart. The radiance Feng Juzhe emitted in the 5 regions' chaotic war had even surpassed ordinary rank 8 GU immortals. Unfortunately, he died in Langya Blessed Land. His death had led to a great disturbance, shaking central continent while the other 4 regions danced in joy. Even after being reborn, Fang Yuan had seen Feng Juzhe as well. It was in that strange space inside the thieving heaven true inheritance in Luopo Valley. Under some strange combination of coincidences, Fang Yuan had saved Feng Juzhe. Originally, he would have perished inside the thieving heaven true inheritance's strange space because of Qin Bai Sheng's suicidal attack. But it all changed after Fang Yuan's rebirth. Although Fang Yuan had done it completely unintentionally, he was indeed Feng Juzhe's savior. But so what if he saved Feng Juzhe's life? In this world, how many times had kindness been reciprocated with ingratitude? Fang Yuan fixed his gaze on Feng Juzhe. He did not dare to relax as he shouted coldly, Feng Juzhe, you are the person Heavenly Court arranged to ambush me. Feng Juzhe glanced at Wu Yong before fixing his gaze at Fang Yuan. Seeing Fang Yuan again, moreover in such a situation, made Feng Juzhe sigh inwardly. Fang Yuan's progress was too fast. The first time Feng Juzhe knew of Fang Yuan, the latter had seized Feng Jinhuang's opportunity and became the new owner of Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Because of his daughter, Feng Juzhe knew of Fang Yuan's name. But he was not even in the least bit concerned. The reason? Because back then, Fang Yuan was only a mere mortal. The difference between an immortal and a mortal was like the difference between heaven and earth, the difference between cloud and mud, they were not even at the same level. It could even be said to be the mortal Fang Yuan's greatest glory for being able to attract a trace of attention from the grand GU immortal Feng Juzhe. However, the development of later events went far beyond Feng Juzhe's expectations. Fang Yuan continued to be involved in major events, repeatedly bringing calamity to the world. His identity was exposed, an otherworldly demon who was the owner of Spring Autumn Cicada, inheritor of Giant Sun's true inheritance and so on, the whole world was shocked. Especially when Fang Yuan's progress was extremely fast, he rapidly ascended from immortal to an immortal, and then to an expert among GU immortals, everything happened in a flash. Many GU immortals could not have such accomplishments even after putting in effort for countless years. But Fang Yuan seemed to have easily achieved this. The first time they truly met, Feng Juzhe was actually saved by Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan smoothly inherited one of the thieving heaven true inheritances, ghostly concealment, then in the battle of Yitian Mountain, Fang Yuan played a huge role. I did not expect Lu Guanyi to be Fang Yuan. The great era is coming, heroes and experts are emerging, and Fang Yuan is currently the one who is shining the brightest. Feng Juzhe sized up Fang Yuan while thinking to himself. At the same time, he had a wry smile on his face. I hurried over from Central Continent to pursue an immortal GU the thieving heaven demon Venerable had once used, but unintentionally ran into this matter. Is he saying he is not the person arranged by Heavenly Court? Fang Yuan frowned. Based on Feng Juzhe's nature and way of doing things, he would not deceive Fang Yuan at such a juncture. Wu Yong, however, sneered in disbelief. Who could have thought Feng Juzhe to have a hypocritical side as well? When I activated the battlefield killer move, you could have easily left if you did not want to participate in this matter. Feng Juzhe nodded. Right. I entered of my own accord, it is because I owe my life to Fang Yuan. It would not matter if I had not come across this, but since I ran across this matter, I have to help him. What? Wu Yong was astonished. Fang Yuan was also dumbstruck. Wu Yong asked back in an incredulous tone, I didn't hear wrongly. You owe him your life, so you want to help him? Ha ha ha. Wu Yong started laughing. Feng Juzhe was a central continent GU immortal, a person from the 10 great ancient sects. Everyone believed he would definitely become a member of Heavenly Court in the future. He was actually going to save Fang Yuan. Who was Fang Yuan? An otherworldly demon, a demon listed at the top of the demon judgment board. Feng Juzhe actually wanted to save him. This was simply a huge joke. Wu Yong laughed, but not only him, even the smile on Feng Juzhe's lips started becoming bigger. As Wu Yong looked at Feng Juzhe's smile, his laughter gradually stopped, slowly replaced by solemnness. He knew. Feng Juzhe was serious. This person was simply a lunatic. A righteous path GU immortal wanted to help a demon. Feng Juzhe was not just an ordinary righteous path GU immortal, he was a huge star of the righteous path. Despite having only rank 7 cultivation, he was treated as a quasi-rank 8 expert by the world. His reputation in Central Continent and in the 5 regions was extremely huge. And Fang Yuan was similarly not an ordinary demonic character. Over these last years, he held the biggest spotlight in the whole world. He was a complete otherworldly demon, possessing Spring-Autumn Cicada, Reverse Flow River Giant Sun's true inheritance, Thieving Heaven's true inheritance in Central Continent. He had seized to immortal blessed land under the noses of the 10 great ancient sects. In Northern Plains, he had destroyed 88 Truyong building. He then went to Southern Border and thwarted Spectral Soul's heaven-defying plan, and seized the fruits of victory. And recently, he had successfully infiltrated Wu Clan, and after the Battle of the Dream Realm, he became the leader of Shadow Sect. Feng Juzhe wanted to help a person like Fang Yuan. Wu Yong was a righteous path GU immortal. He tried putting himself in Feng Juzhe's shoes. Even if Fang Yuan saved his life, how much pressure would he face if he helped Fang Yuan? This pressure did not only come from his faction, it came from his family, his sect, Heavenly Court and even all the GU immortals in the world. No. Feng Juzhe is different from me. He is not born of the righteous path, and was once a demonic path GU immortal. Wu Yong suddenly recalled. Demons are truly insane, they cannot be reasoned with. Wu Yong raged inwardly. Fang Yuan thought of Feng Juzhe's past. Feng Juzhe had been an unremarkable secluded cultivator with no fame in his early years. He cultivated sound path and committed to it his entire life. One time, he sang loudly in a nameless valley, which attracted 2 other GU immortals to sing in chorus. Back then, it was night time with the moon hanging high and light wind blowing gently, causing ripples in a glittering lake in the valley. As the 3 GU immortals sang in harmony, time flew by rapidly, and they had sung till dawn. The 3 stopped singing and started laughing. They did not greet each other, but left full of joy. Only after a few years did Feng Juzhe learn of these 2's names and origins. At that time, there was news in Central Continent's GU immortal world that these 2 were demonic GU immortals who had seized a rank 7 immortal GU from Black Heaven Temple, and were hunted down by the allied forces of the 10 great ancient sects. Feng Juzhe immediately set off to help them. Those 2 GU immortals were at a dead end, opposed by the masses, so when they saw Feng Juzhe coming to aid them, they were both moved and surprised, asking Feng Juzhe why he did this. Feng Juzhe had replied. A few years back, we sang together. I sang about the bright moon, while you sang about the verdant mountain and a white lake. The clear moon and gentle breeze showed your human hearts. How could those capable of singing such a song be petty people who covet others' immortal GU? I trust you too. The 2 were so touched their tears started flowing down. One of them spoke. You understand us. We had inherited this rank 7 immortal GU from a true inheritance, but how could we have imagined Black Heaven Temple to falsely accuse us? Black Heaven Temple is one of the 10 great ancient sects, whatever it says, others believe them. The other persuaded Feng Juzhe. We have only sang 1 song together, we are complete strangers. The 2 of us are in great danger and have no hope left. It is still not too late for you to leave. Feng Juzhe, however, shook his head and insisted on helping them. The 2 immortals said worriedly, if you do not leave, you will also be branded as a demon. Feng Juzhe laughed. Neither demonic nor righteous, there is only Feng Juzhe in this world. To leave or to stay, I decide my own life and death. The 2 immortals were moved, and teared up in admiration. Feng Juzhe's poems were not famous back then. But as he repeatedly forced back Black Heaven Temple's GU Immortals and was victorious time and again, the matter soon got out of hand. When the other 9 ancient sects heard of the matter, they expressed support for Black Heaven Temple and created the huge pressure of public opinion. As a result, Feng Jiuzhe proclaimed that he would challenge Central Continent's champions as he traveled the world. The 10 sects sent their experts to challenge Feng Jiuzhe in single battles, but were all defeated. Feng Jiuzhe was not afraid, fighting as he continuously traveled a huge distance, suddenly changing his tactic and going for the enemy headquarters, causing the 10 sects to lose miserably. The scene was total chaos and there was nothing anyone could do. Finally, Spirit Affinity House made their move. The fairy of that generation, Fairy Bai Qing, moved Feng Jiuzhe with love and turned him into a member of Spirit Affinity House. Back then, Feng Jiuzhe could put himself on the line to save 2 complete strangers who had only sung a song with him, becoming labeled as a demon as a result. Now, why would Feng Jiuzhe not help the demon Fang Yuan? Especially when Fang Yuan had saved his life. Feng Jiuzhe was still the same person, be it in the past or present. Fang Yuan suddenly realized the meaning behind Feng Jiuzhe's earlier sigh. Feng Jiuzhe had already wanted to help Fang Yuan, but he thought of his wife and daughter as well as his situation. He was probably intending to help secretly. But unfortunately, his presence was sensed by Wu Yang. Feng Jiuzhe had to make a choice after that. And just like what he did back then, he made a similar choice. Neither demonic nor righteous, there is only Feng Jiuzhe in this world. To leave or to stay, I decide my own life and death. Demonic path or righteous path, these 2 factions and identities could not restrain Feng Jiuzhe. To leave or to stay, as far as Feng Jiuzhe was concerned, if he left, his heart would not be free, only by remaining would his heart be at ease. His actions simply came from his inner heart. I am always me. I am Feng Jiuzhe. For all eternity. Chapter 1389 Fang and Feng vs Wu Yang. Ha ha ha. Wu Yang suddenly started laughing loudly. His laughter was filled with anger. He was obviously angry at Feng Jiuzhe for wanting to help Fang Yuan. Good, good. Both of you are only rank 7 GU Immortals, but have rank 8 battle strength. Let me experience what level of strength you 2 have. A rank 8 GU Immortal's pride and confidence made the killing intent inside Wu Yang flourish and intensify. He was absolutely confident of his victory. So what if it was 1 against 2? He, Wu Yang, was a rank 8 GU Immortal, while his opponents were only rank 7. How could the gulf between rank 7 and rank 8 be so easy to bridge? Let alone when he had an immortal GU house with him. Clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building, a rank 8 immortal GU house. A rank 8 GU immortal with a rank 8 immortal GU house, how could he lose? Wu Yang could not think of any way he would lose. The battle started again, the atmosphere immediately tensed. Feng Jiuzhe slowly moved towards Wu Yang, while saying to Fang Yuan without turning his head, "You once saved my life, now I am saving yours. The favor has been repaid, you should leave, whether you can break through and get out of here alive will depend on yourself." Fang Yuan was surprised. By the looks of it, Feng Jiuzhe was not going to fight together with him, and was instead going to fight Wu Yang by himself. Okay. Fang Yuan immediately retreated to a corner. Who was he? How could he forego such a chance? Seeing that Feng Jiuzhe was facing him alone, Wu Yang felt a trace of admiration inwardly and spoke, "All right, let me experience the power of the famous Central Continent genius." He then stored the immortal GU house clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building back into his immortal aperture. This rank 8 immortal GU house was his trump card. It was constructed with multiple rank 8 immortal GU, naturally it consumed an enormous amount of immortal essence. Wu Yang had already activated it for a long time to set up the situation and chase Fang Yuan. Now, Wu Yang stored it. It was like a sheathed divine sword, the enemy would never know when Wu Yang would activate this trump card, and would always feel apprehension and pressure. At the same time, this also showed Wu Yang's self-confidence and pride. He wanted to fight Feng Jiuzhe fairly. Battle intent soared as both sides readied themselves. Fierce wind suddenly blew around Wu Yang before subsiding rapidly. Feng Jiuzhe and Fang Yuan both watched with focused gazes. This was a sign of Wu Yang activating his immortal killer move. It was extremely fast. Moreover, the aura before activation had been concealed to an extreme degree, be it Feng Jiuzhe or Fang Yuan, both were unable to sense it. Feng Jiuzhe quickly retreated, cautiously pulling apart some distance from Wu Yang. How could he dare to be conceited against a rank 8 GU immortal? Especially against an immortal killer move which was completely unknown, facing it head-on was absolutely reckless. The fierce wind subsided, turning into gentle breeze which then rotated endlessly, transforming into enormous figures in a blink of an eye. They were shaped like humans, but were tall like elephants, with bulging muscles like piles of stones. Their whole bodies were bluish-black, sharp fangs protruded out of their mouths, and they had a pair of thick monstrous arms that drooped down to their feet. Their eyes were completely black, and green hair grew all over their bodies. Immortal Killer Move, Soft Vajra Wind Chief. Wu Yong created 6 wind chiefs at once. Some of the wind chiefs were shouting, producing loud wheezing noises, while some screamed with an almost ear-piercing pitch. They divided into 2 groups, with each group having 3 wind chiefs. One group charged at Feng Juzhe while the other chased after Fang Yuan. Feng Juzhe wanted to fight Wu Yong, while Wu Yong had his own pride and wanted to deal with both Feng Juzhe and Fang Yuan together. A light flashed in Feng Juzhe's eyes when he saw the killer moves form. Instead of retreating further, he unleashed his long-range palm attacks. Ding, ding, ding. Each of his palm strikes produced a resonant sound. The sound waves vibrated and spread, striking the 6 soft Vajra wind chiefs one after the other. The soft Vajra wind chiefs had an imposing momentum earlier, but they were completely stopped by this immortal killer move of Feng Juzhe. They were even sent back and looked like they were unable to resist the attack. Both Fang Yuan's and Wu Yong's pupils shrunk at such a sight. They were both shocked. Feng Juzhe only had rank 7 cultivation level, but the power of his immortal killer move did not lose to Wu Yong's. Whether it be Fang Yuan or Wu Yong, they could both see that this was because of the extremely abundant amount of sound path Dao marks on Feng Juzhe's body. His sound path Dao mark accumulation was so immense that it was actually on par with Wu Yong. How did he cultivate to this extent? Fang Yuan was endlessly astonished as he observed the battle from afar. The reason he could fight with rank 8s was because of reverse flow protection seal. But Feng Juzhe was able to fight rank 8s because he possessed an extremely deep sound path foundation. When these two were compared, Fang Yuan was naturally inferior to Feng Juzhe. How did he cultivate? Having such a foundation, it is no wonder he was able to fight against Central Continent's 10 ancient sects back then, and has the confidence to fight Wu Yong. Does he truly have this foundation, or is it some temporary method that can only last for a short time? Fang Yuan began to ponder. Naturally, his main attention was still on Wu Yong's immortal battlefield killer move, as well as analyzing and deducing the killer move airlock. At the same time, the Shadow Sect GU immortals inside his immortal aperture were also doing their best at this. Crack crack crack. Wu Yong saw that the soft Vajra wind chiefs were ineffective, and activated another killer move. He grasped a thin and long wind whip in his hand and continuously lashed it at Feng Juzhe. The wind whip seemed to have no end to it and could also be immediately contracted. Every lash could break the air and produce a crisp explosion. Feng Juzhe showed no weaknesses. His left hand sent palm strikes against the soft Vajra wind chiefs, while his right hand clenched into a fist and dealt against the wind whip. His left palm struck the air, every strike bringing with it a long and resonant bell sound. His right fist pummeled in front of him, every fist producing a rumbling explosion like striking a war drum. Dang dang dang. Bam bam bam. For a moment, Feng Juzhe was actually equally matched against Wu Yong. Even Fang Yuan was almost dazed. The main reason was because Feng Juzhe's Dao marks accumulation did not lose to the rank 8 GU immortal Wu Yong. How did he cultivate to the point where he was able to go against the common sense of GU immortal world? The biggest difference between a rank 8 and a rank 7 was the amount of Dao marks. An earthly calamity could, on average, give 250 Dao marks, 250 to a GU immortal. A heavenly tribulation was 750. A grand tribulation was 7,250, 7,250. A myriad tribulation was 86,750, 86,750 Dao marks. The difference between the Dao marks of a rank 7 GU immortal and a rank 8 was extremely huge. While the difference between a rank 9 GU immortal and a rank 8 was like heaven and earth. This was one of the main reasons why rank 9 was invincible, and rank 8 GU immortals could crush rank 7s. As GU immortals advanced further, the amount of Dao marks they gained would increase explosively. Even though everyone knew this, it was simply too difficult to do anything about it. Rank 8 GU immortal themselves signified higher quantity and quality of tribulations than rank 7. Hence, it was almost impossible for a GU immortal at rank 7 cultivation to possess a rank 8 GU immortal's Dao mark accumulation. If not for this, there would have been abundant examples of rank 7 fighting rank 8 in the GU immortal world. However, Feng Juzhe was able to achieve this. If this is his temporary power-up method which increases his Dao marks, it would be slightly easier to accept. But if he actually has such a Dao mark accumulation, that is too terrifying. Fang Yuan thought to himself while observing the battle. Wu Yong did not get angry at Feng Juzhe being able to fight him equally, instead his expression became more calm. Good. Truly worthy of Feng Juzhe. Well then, how about this move? Wu Yong pointed his finger. His fingertip aimed at Feng Juzhe. A crisp sound echoed. A dark jade worm flew out of his fingertip. The small worm shot at Feng Juzhe with an extreme speed. While flying, it grew larger as its body expanded to 10 feet, 50 feet, 150 feet. After a few breaths of time, it turned into a vicious wind dragon that was 220 feet tall, baring its fangs and claws as it showed a ferocious imposingness, as if it was going to swallow Feng Juzhe. It was Wu Yong's specialty immortal killer move, Finger Wind Dragon. Feng Juzhe's pupils shrunk slightly, and he immediately retreated back. Finger Wind Dragon was extremely powerful, Feng Juzhe could not face it head-on, hence he retreated to create some distance and attack from afar. It could not be helped. Wu Yong's Finger Wind Dragon killer move had rank 8 Immortal GU as its core. Feng Juzhe's Dao mark accumulation was similar to Wu Yong's. But he did not have any rank 8 Immortal GU. Wu Yong's rank 8 killer move, Finger Wind Dragon, was extremely powerful. Feng Juzhe could not face it with his killer moves that used rank 7 Immortal GU as their cores. Or, he could use quantity to make up for the quality. Feng Juzhe had this idea. He retreated while sending out endless punches and palm strikes, using rank 7 killer moves as he weakened the Finger Wind Dragon until it completely dissipated. But this undoubtedly was an intense burden on Feng Juzhe's rank 7 Red Date Immortal Essence. On the other hand, Wu Yong's Immortal Essence was something only rank 8 GU Immortals had, White Lychee Immortal Essence. Feng Juzhe was far inferior to Wu Yong in this aspect. Rank 8 GU Immortals were stronger than rank 7, not only in Dao marks, but also their other aspects that were of qualitative difference. Immortal Essence was only one of them. Just by using one Finger Wind Dragon, Wu Yong had immediately broken the stalemate, suppressing Feng Juzhe. This killer move is dangerous. I can sense the violent strength hiding inside it, I must not let it get close to me. Feng Juzhe had an extraordinary perception. Wu Yong had indeed stacked another move on top of this move, it was Chaotic Shooting Blades. Once this move was activated, the Finger Wind Dragon would self-detonate, turning into countless jade wind blades which would shoot everywhere. The power was terrifying and had shown its might in the Purple Blood River formation. Although it was the first time Feng Juzhe saw the Finger Wind Dragon, with his plentiful battle experience, he intuitively sensed this follow-up of Wu Yong. This discovery let Feng Juzhe avoid danger, but he became even more passive. He could only retreat while weakening the Finger Wind Dragon with long-range attacks. This gave Wu Yong enough opportunity and time to prepare a new immortal killer move. This was very dangerous. Feng Juzhe also knew this, but unfortunately, Finger Wind Dragon was extremely fast and gave him huge pressure. Adding on the 6 soft Vajra Wind Chiefs, Feng Juzhe was unable to interrupt Wu Yong. This is troublesome. Feng Juzhe's brows began to furrow. At this rate, the situation would become increasingly disadvantageous for him. Once Wu Yong activated another immortal killer move, it would definitely make Feng Juzhe's situation even more unbearable. However, right at this time, a figure suddenly joined the battlefield. Boom! The Finger Wind Dragon directly collided against Fang Yuan's body. Then, it was reflected back by Reverse Flow Protection Seal. The Finger Wind Dragon which had troubled Feng Juzhe for some time was sent flying back to Wu Yong. Wu Yong, who was preparing a new killer move, immediately frowned deeply. Reverse Flow Protection Seal is truly amazing. It was Feng Juzhe's turn to look at Fang Yuan in a new light. Chapter 1394 Clear Transforming Winds. Reverse Flow Protection Seal immediately showed extraordinary effect. The Finger Wind Dragon was reflected at Wu Yong, but right at this moment, Wu Yong gave a firm shout, his whole body erupting with a powerful aura. The immortal killer move he had been preparing was finally activated. Yin Wind Ghost Sickle Hand. He stretched out his right arm and grabbed towards the Finger Wind Dragon. Almost instantly, with no prior indication, an enormous ghost hand suddenly appeared on the Finger Wind Dragon's body. The ghost hand formed completely by Yin Wind, it was extremely large, grabbing the Finger Wind Dragon like grabbing an earthworm. The ghost hand was pitch black and had long sharp claws that were like 5 sickles. At this moment, as it grabbed down, it looked like it had the power to slaughter immortals. The Finger Wind Dragon gave a miserable cry and struggled fiercely. Several breaths later, it completely broke apart, turning into gusts of wind which soon dissipated. Feng Juji's expression turned solemn. Finger Wind Dragon was undoubtedly a rank 8 killer move, but Wu Yong's Yin Wind Ghost Sickle hand clearly appeared to be much more powerful. If this hand had grabbed Feng Juzhe, the consequences were too miserable to imagine. If Fang Yuan had not interfered at the crucial moment, Feng Juzhe would still be being chased by the Finger Wind Dragon and would also have to face Yin Wind Ghost Sickle hand. His situation would have been extremely precarious. Wu Yong's expression was similarly unsightly. He had been preparing Yin Wind Ghost Sickle hand for a long while, and had thought of defeating Feng Juzhe with this. But with Fang Yuan's interference, he had no choice but to change the target to Finger Wind Dragon, wasting this great killer move. In fact, Yin Wind Ghost Sickle hand had a subsequent transformation as well. It was called Yin Wind Rope and its ability was to capture GU immortals. After all, Feng Juzhe was from Central Continent. Wu Yong had spent such a large amount of effort and immortal essence to prepare Yin Wind Ghost Sickle hand so as to capture Feng Juzhe alive. If he achieved his goal, he would have gained huge benefits. Firstly, if Wu Yong captured a person like Feng Juzhe alive, it would be a huge boost to his own fame and would have a huge influence on Southern Border's righteous path as well. Secondly, just capturing Feng Juzhe and not killing him would mean they would not have to fall out with Central Continent and Heavenly Court. Finally, after capturing Feng Juzhe, Wu Yong could not only extort him, he could also blackmail Spirit Affinity House and even Heavenly Court. If he could make Heavenly Court compromise and hand over those immortal GU they took from the Super GU formation, even if it was just a portion of them, Wu Yong's prestige in the whole of Southern Border's GU immortal world would definitely rise to unprecedented heights. It could even directly stabilize Wu Clan as the #1 force of the righteous path in Southern Border's GU immortal world. But now, Fang Yuan had disrupted his plan. These two guys. If I use ordinary rank 7 killer moves, Feng Juzhe could easily resist them and even counterattack. If I use rank 8 killer moves, although I would be able to force back Feng Juzhe and suppress him, I would have to go through Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal. If the killer move is reflected, I would be the one to suffer losses. Wu Yong's eyelids twitched slightly at his present situation. It was problematic. He felt a little troubled. If he was just facing Fang Yuan, Wu Yong could completely treat him like a sandbag and have full initiative. If he was facing just Feng Juzhe, he could also forcefully suppress the latter. But if he was to face both of them, Wu Yong was troubled. There is not much hope in breaking reverse flow protection seal in a short period of time. This is the first time I am witnessing this move and I am also not a Wisdom Path GU immortal. Maybe Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven have already researched and made countermeasures against reverse flow protection seal. But the only way now is to continue attacking them until they are unable to cope with the attacks, then find an opportunity to kill them. If there was no opportunity in battle, he would create it himself. Thinking of this, Wu Yong suddenly concealed himself, disappearing from Fang Yuan's and Feng Juzhe's sights. He disappeared. Where is he? Fang Yuan looked at Feng Juzhe. Wu Yong was taking a step back for the sake of advancing further. Fang Yuan's investigative methods were no good and was simply unable to sense Wu Yong's location. Feng Juzhe also shook his head. He seems to be using this battlefield to hide himself. He could only detect some vague details. Feng Juzhe had just finished speaking, when there was a sudden change in the whole battlefield. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Fierce wind rose from nowhere, making whizzing noises as it moved around the battlefield like formless pythons. Then, wind blades formed out of the wind. Each wind blade carried the piercing power of a rank 8 killer move. They maneuvered around in the air and charged towards Fang Yuan and Feng Juzhe. Good. Fang Yuan was happy instead of startled. His robe fluttered behind as he charged ahead. The wind blades, however, nimbly passed around him and shot towards Feng Juzhe. Wu Yong wanted to get rid of Feng Juzhe first before he dealt with Fang Yuan. This choice was extremely wise. Because only Feng Juzhe had the ability to counterattack. Once he was dead or captured, what could Fang Yuan do with just reverse flow protection seal? Feng Juzhe smiled brightly at this. Interesting, I am being treated as a pushover. His tone was not furious, instead it had some joy and curiosity. He had never experienced such a feeling. Feng Juzhe sent out punches and palm strikes, destroying the wind blades. But after being destroyed, the wind blades turned into gusts of fierce wind which whizzed around before condensing into new wind blades. The wind blades shot forward continuously and with an increasing amount. Feng Juzhe did not dare to let these wind blades touch him, but despite destroying them as early as possible, he was now in a passive situation. Fang Yuan quickly rushed forward to help. This time, Fang Yuan lingered beside Feng Juzhe. Many wind blades struck Fang Yuan, but were immediately reflected back. However, they did not shoot back at Wu Yong, instead striking back at this battlefield. Although Wu Yong was the controller, he had manipulated the Immortal battlefield killer move to send out the attacks. Hence, he was not the direct attacker. Wu Yong became the mastermind manipulator, while Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal could only reflect the attack to the attacker. As such, the wind blades could only target this battlefield. Wu Yong, who was hiding in a corner, was inwardly joyous when he saw this, and put in even more strength into the battlefield killer move. Fang Yuan was passively defending, his frown getting deeper as time passed. Feng Juzhe's situation had already turned for the better with Fang Yuan's protection. He thought for a moment before transmitting his voice to Fang Yuan, "Protect me while I prepare a move to destroy this battlefield." Fang Yuan was stunned, before quickly agreeing. Previously, he had already deduced it would be difficult to break this battlefield killer move. It was very difficult to see any effects based on his strength and attainment. On the other hand, it was better to wait for airlock to dissipate and use omnidirectional travel with Bai Ningbing and the rest to leave this battlefield. So he needed to stall for time to the greatest extent possible. If he let Feng Juzhe fight with Wu Yong alone, Wu Yong would soon gain the upper hand and suppress Feng Juzhe, even getting rid of him, and then be free to deal with Fang Yuan. Feng Juzhe might have rank 8 battle strength, but he was still rank 7 after all. Hence, Fang Yuan came to help. Feng Juzhe began to prepare his killer move. He did not resist, leaving his defense to Fang Yuan. Such trust made Fang Yuan feel a little uncertain. Seeing this, Wu Yong hastened the battlefield killer move even more. The wind blades were unable to do anything to Fang and Feng. Another change occurred in the battlefield. Crackling of thunder could be heard. This thunder was extremely peculiar. Normal thunder sounded like an explosion or rumbling. This thunder, however, sounded bright and sharp, like knocking a gourd on a large 100-year-old bamboo flute. Several breaths later, lightning bolts flickered as they struck down at Fang and Feng. "Careful, this is clear jade lightning," Feng Juzhe warned. Clear jade lightning emitted dazzling blue light. It was extremely fast and emitted such glaring light that Fang Yuan had to close his eyes. He quickly activated his transformation method to change his eyes to dragon eyes, only then was he able to resist the dazzling lightning. Fang Yuan was actively maintaining reverse flow protection seal, which took almost all of his attention, so he was not able to use ancient sword dragon transformation. But if it was just transforming his eyes, he could still do it. Clear jade lightning struck down. Fang Yuan took it head-on. The jade lightning hit his body and was reflected back, wreaking havoc to the battlefield. But some of the jade lightning struck towards Feng Juzhe. However, these clear jade lightning bolts disappeared without a trace when they had just neared Feng Juzhe. Feng Juzhe was preparing a killer move. He naturally would not fully rely on Fang Yuan and had laid down some defensive methods. Fang Yuan felt relieved at this. He could defend much more calmly now and even counterattack. Wu Yong saw the lightning did not work and changed the battlefield again. Lightning disappeared, strong wind weakened and changed into drops of beautiful green water pearls which then formed a thin drizzle. "Be careful, this is clear jade dripping wind," Feng Juzhe warned once again. This water pearl-like wind sprinkled on Fang Yuan's body but were similarly reflected back. Fang Yuan was completely safe. Feng Juzhe, however, did not fare well. As clear jade dripping wind neared him, they continued to disappear, but many water drops still landed on his body. Feng Juzhe had defenses all over his body as well. The clear jade water drops splashed on him, producing clear sounds. The water continued to land on him. Feng Juzhe's body seemed to have turned into a human-shaped musical instrument, as delightful melodies echoed continuously. Wu Yong laughed loudly and even revealed himself because he saw victory within his grasp. "My move still has another variation, its name is Profound Immortal Sound. Feng Juzhe, you cultivate sound path, why don't you evaluate this move?" As his voice stopped, low murmurs of wind started to resound in the battlefield. The sound of the wind was mild and clear, resounding within Fang Yuan's mind. In an instant, the robe on Fang Yuan started shaking and billowing. "Not good, this profound immortal sound has the strongest offensive power among the 4 variation moves. Although I have reverse flow protection seal, I can only protect myself, how can I help Feng Juzhe?" Fang Yuan's heart sank. Wu Yong's battlefield killer move was 4 clear transforming winds. It was created by a rank 8 Wu clan ancestor and was passed down from generation to generation. This 4 clear transforming winds had 4 variations: clear wind blades, clear jade lightning, clear jade dripping wind and profound immortal sound. It was Wu Clan's trump card killer move with awe-inspiring might, and had helped Wu Clan to dominate southern border for countless years. Chapter 1391 Separation Song forces Wu Yong back. Whether it be clear wind blades, clear jade lightning, clear jade dripping wind or profound immortal sound, the essence of these variation moves was wind path. The Wu Clan ancestor whom had created this immortal battlefield killer move had clearly cultivated wind path to the extent of being able to imitate other paths with it, touching upon sword path, lightning path, water path and sound path. In Wu Yong's hands, this move had outstanding effect. Fang Yuan was helpless, while Feng Juzhe was in a dangerous situation. Profound immortal sound became more concentrated and sonorous, while the musical sounds on Feng Juzhe were suppressed until they were almost inaudible. Fang Yuan was helpless. He had a lot of immortal GU and immortal killer moves, countless desolate beasts, ancient desolate beasts and so on. But when facing the rank 8 GU immortal Wu Yong, these things appeared to be superficial, they were not useful enough to serve any purpose. Only reverse flow protection seal could be relied upon by Fang Yuan to maintain his unharmed state. Unfortunately, even this trump card could not resolve this dangerous situation. Profound immortal sound was becoming clearer and louder. Fang Yuan's reverse flow robe was shaking while the reverse flow river continued to decrease in volume so fast that it was startling him. But Fang Yuan was more anxious about Feng Juzhe. Red blood was flowing out of Feng Juzhe's nose, mouth and eyes. His body was shaking and it was getting more intense. Damn it, if this goes on, Feng Juzhe's killer move will be broken and will definitely backlash, causing heavy injuries. Adding on Wu Yong's attack, he might even die immediately. Fang Yuan understood this but was powerless to do anything. He naturally was not worried about Feng Juzhe, but if Feng Juzhe died, it would be his turn to face Wu Yong. Even if airlock's effect dissipated later on and he could use omnidirectional travel again, he would not have the chance to do so in front of Wu Yong. However, just as the situation was gradually tilting in favor of Wu Yong, Feng Juzhe suddenly let out a breath of air, his body relaxing. Soon afterwards, a unique aura rose from his body. Feng Juzhe slowly opened his mouth and started singing in a weak voice. The tone of his voice was not high, it was soft and low, but it was clearly heard by Fang Yuan and Wu Yong. His singing gradually became slightly louder, like a low murmur or like soft sleep talking on a quiet night. A sudden emotion rose in Wu Yong's heart. Wu Yong's expression rapidly changed. He had protected himself with layers of powerful immortal level defenses, but when he heard this song, these defenses actually seemed to be non-existent, letting the song evoke emotions within him. Fang Yuan's expression also changed. Although he did not feel anything, intense ripples were set off on the surface of the reverse flow robe. This situation was even more serious than when he had faced the profound immortal sounds attack. Incredible, he possesses such a powerful sound path killer move. It targets anything and everything near it. I am also within its range, I should get away from Feng Juzhe. Fang Yuan quickly retreated. He was doing this not only for himself, but was also trying to help Feng Juzhe. Wu Yong made the same choice and was even more thorough in his retreat, his body disappeared without a trace. Being able to retreat or advance at will, this was the superiority of having territorial advantage. The immortal battlefield started attacking even faster and more wildly. Profound immortal sound, clear wind blades, clear jade dripping wind and clear jade lightning, these four variation moves appeared together and covered Feng Juzhe in multiple layers. Feng Juzhe ignored them, using his body to firmly resist all the attacks, while continuing to sing. The song was a pure and simple tune, but it contained the boundless profundities of sound path. The song gradually became louder, it was not an instant rise, but a gradual and gentle one, alternating between low and high pitch as it rose. Emotions coiled around Wu Yong's heart, making him even more puzzled. What sound path killer move is this? What kind of power is this? The song suddenly dropped to a low pitch, and incomparable gloominess and sentimental feelings attacked Wu Yong's heart, making him have an urge to cry. Without any warning, a word emerged in Wu Yong's mind: separation. The pain of separation, the sadness of separation, the gloominess of separation, and the reluctance of separation. Splitting up with your lover, never seeing your friends again, and the death of your loved ones. Separated, but the past remains the same. Separated, as old friends bid farewell. Separated, like the setting of the sun. Separated, like falling flowers that convey deep sadness. The song was sometimes mournful, like it was complaining about the injustice of fate, sometimes sad, as if it was questioning the cruelty of reality, sometimes resentful, like it was screaming internally, and sometimes gloomy, like crying without tears falling out, kept deep within oneself. Huff. Wu Yong's body suddenly shook fiercely as he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. His expression looked incredulous, because he shockingly discovered that Immortal battlefield killer move, 4 clear transforming winds, was actually disintegrating and breaking apart. None of the GU worms that formed this battlefield killer move were destroyed because of the song, even the mortal GU were intact. Naturally, some GU worms had been destroyed when Fang Yuan had reflected the attacks with reverse flow protection seal, but Wu Yong had immediately replenished them, and there was no actual harm done. What made Wu Yong astonished was these GU worms had not received the slightest of damage, but they were no longer under his control and had begun to separate from each other, not willing to cooperate and work together. This was absurd. If the coordination of 1 or 2 GU worms was in chaos, it did not matter as long as they were not the cores of the killer move. If a part of the GU worms were destroyed, as long as they were not the cores, the killer move could still be maintained. But now, all the GU worms had separated and were leaving. Wu Yong was simply unable to control them. The culprit behind this was the song from Feng Juzhe. Soon, Fang Yuan also sensed what had happened. He detected that the whole battlefield was in the midst of crumbling apart. Fang Yuan was inwardly very surprised. Wu Yong sensed the situation was awry and wanted to abort the battlefield killer move 4 clear transforming winds, but it was too late. At the very next instant, the whole battlefield disintegrated. The 3 immortals saw the clear sky and the white clouds once again. Wu Yong coughed out a mouthful of blood. He was forced out of hiding. His expression was pale as he staggered back due to the heavy injuries. An immortal battlefield killer move was different from a GU formation. If a GU formation was destroyed, the GU immortal would usually not suffer heavy injuries, but when an immortal battlefield killer move was destroyed, the backlash would normally be heavy and severe. The stronger a killer move was, the greater the power of the backlash. 4 clear transforming winds. This was a grand killer move that Wu clan had used to subdue southern border. It was terrifyingly powerful, hence when it disintegrated, the backlash on Wu Yong was extremely severe. What an amazing killer move. What is its name? Wu Yong gazed at Feng Juzhe and asked. Feng Juzhe did not reply him, instead he continued singing. Wu Yong's expression changed again. At this moment, he could not hold back anymore. He took out the Immortal GU House Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building. Wu Yong entered this rank 8 Immortal GU House which had powerful defenses, healing himself calmly inside it. The matter of Immortal Essence expenditure was no longer the main issue. Wu Yong had no choice but to do this. But soon, the result that had shocked him occurred once again. Under the effect of the song, Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building actually started to shake and showed a slight sign of disintegrating. This was an actual rank 8 Immortal GU house. This meant that Feng Juzhe's killer move was at rank 8 level. Seeing this, Wu Yong's eyes shined with a terrifying light and without tending to his injuries, he directly controlled the Immortal GU house to collide into Feng Juzhe. An Immortal GU house had no clear weakness, it was the essence of formation path. Immortal GU houses could rampage and destroy everything in a battlefield. This was not just a fact from past human history, it was also tried and tested common wisdom that Fang Yuan learned in the 500 years of his previous life. Naturally, every Immortal GU house had its own unique power. For instance, He tribe's dark prison could tame ancient desolate beasts. Another example was 33 Heavenly Halls of Baishang Grotto Heaven. It was an Immortal GU house with extraordinary defense and it was most proficient in storing and preserving immortal materials. But unfortunately, 33 Heavenly Halls was only an incomplete Immortal GU house. It had suffered serious damage in the past and had now already lost its movement ability. Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building naturally had its own killer moves, but Wu Yong's act of directly colliding into Feng Juzhe was also a wise choice. After all, activating killer moves required time. Direct collision would spend the least amount of time and was also the most straightforward. Feng Juzhe's immortal killer move might be shockingly powerful, but he seemed to be unable to move from the spot and could only passively face attacks. This flaw had already been noted by Fang Yuan and Wu Yong. The defenses on Feng Juzhe were almost exhausted. If Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building collided into him, he would definitely turn into meat paste. At this precarious moment, Fang Yuan could not just watch from the sidelines. When Wu Yong finished with Feng Juzhe, it would be his turn next. Airlock's time limit had not been reached yet. Fang Yuan moved forward and blocked the path of Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building. Fang Yuan could not activate Strength Path Giant Hand. Most of his attention was on maintaining Reverse Flow Protection Seal. He was only able to transform his arms and hands into dragon arms and claws, cover them with dragon scales, then activate rank 7 Dragon Strength Immortal GU. These immortal GU were all borrowed from Wu clan, and now they were being used against Wu Yong. Wu Yong felt his chest tightening at this sight, and intensely poured in his immortal essence into the immortal GU house. Boom! Both sides collided, and without any surprise, Fang Yuan was sent flying. His strength was inferior to clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building, he was like a cannonball that was shot far away. But he suffered no injuries because of reverse flow protection seal. On the contrary, clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building lost many mortal GU from the collision. With this opening created, Feng Juji's song became even more effective. Wu Yong seized the chance, continuing to control the immortal GU house to collide into Feng Juzhe, while at the same time, he began to concentrate on activating a killer move of clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building. The immortal GU house was about to collide into Feng Juzhe, but Fang Yuan could not return in time. However, right at this moment, Feng Juzhe suddenly moved and flew to the sky. Wu Yong's attack missed, his expression immediately showed shock and fury. Feng Juzhe could clearly move since the start, and had intentionally done this to deceive the enemy. The song was still continuing, immortal GU house clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building was disintegrating. From the surface, it looked like a two-storied bamboo stilt building. Although it was a rank 8 immortal GU house, it used few GU worms. It was not like those immortal GU houses which were huge, they had a large number of GU worms. With only so few GU worms, Feng Juji's song was clearly even more effective. First, bamboos began to separate, the bamboos on the edges even directly left the immortal GU house. These bamboos were naturally not real bamboos, soon after leaving the main body, they emitted bright jade radiance as they disintegrated into countless little GU worms. Wu Yong's expression turned gloomy. The situation was extremely unfavorable to him. At this time, Fang Yuan neared once again. Wu Yong coldly snorted, gazing deeply at Fang Yuan and Feng Juzhe before he mobilized clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building to leave. In just a few moments, clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building left the battlefield, becoming a small black dot in the horizon. He had actually taken the initiative to retreat. Chapter 1392. So it was the scheme of heaven's will. Wu Yong took the initiative to retreat, Fang Yuan and Feng Juzhe were not happy, their hearts sank. Wu Yong could move ahead to attack, he could naturally retreat too. Fang Yuan and Feng Juzhe both hoped that Wu Yong would fight against them to the death. But Wu Yong did not do that, he chose to retreat in a logical and wise manner. He was a rank 8 righteous path GU immortal, against 2 rank 7s, he actually chose to retreat. If news got out, Wu Yong would lose a portion of his reputation. The reason why it was only a portion was because his opponents were the famous Feng Juzhe and Lu Guanyi Fang Yuan. Wu Yong needed a lot of courage to do this. Of course, he needed great wisdom. Immortal battlefield killer move 4 clear transforming winds was broken, Wu Yong suffered a backlash from the killer move and was heavily injured. But he had clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building, he could still fight. But when he found out that Feng Juzhe could move, and he could do nothing to Fang Yuan, he sensibly chose to retreat. This was a great move. In fact, this was even more powerful than his fierce attacks earlier. Fang Yuan's and Feng Juji's weaknesses were immediately targeted. Firstly, only a few edges of clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building had broken, it was still incredibly fast. It was impossible for Fang Yuan and Feng Juzhe to chase after Wu Yong. Especially when Fang Yuan's upper extreme heavenly eagle was no longer under his control. Secondly, Wu Yong obtained precious time to calmly heal himself. After all, his wounds were not light, his battle strength was severely affected. And finally, Wu Yong could repair clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building, and even add in more GU worms to the immortal GU house, he would not be so passive when facing Feng Juji's immortal killer move again. Wu Yong's sound path attainment level was only ordinary, but his wind path attainment had long reached the level of mimicking other paths. He could totally use wind path methods to weaken the effects of Feng Juji's killer move. That was to say, when Wu Yong pursued them again, Fang Yuan and Feng Juzhe would have a face of fully healed rank 8 GU immortal with a peak condition immortal GU house, clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building, that was completely prepared for Feng Juzhe. Wu Yong could retreat as he pleased, he did not need to desperately fight with Fang Yuan or Feng Juzhe, he could wait for a better opportunity later. In contrast, Fang Yuan and Feng Juzhe could do nothing to him, they were in the passive position. Fang Yuan only had reverse flow protection seal, while Feng Juzhe might have an immortal battlefield killer move, but even if he had time to set it up, he could not trap Wu Yong, because he had the rank 8 Immortal GU House Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building. The difference in strength. Even though Fang Yuan and Feng Zhuzhe worked together, there was still a huge gap in strength between them and Wu Yong. If it were only Wu Yong, they might have some hope of winning. But Wu Yong had the Immortal GU House Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building, his battle strength had risen immensely, the two of them were helpless. Fang Yuan, leave first. At this moment, Feng Zhuzhe said to Fang Yuan. He spoke very plainly. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk a little. Feng Zhuzhe looked at Fang Yuan deeply, he was expressionless, but he soon turned to look at the small black dot in the sky Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building. Back then, you saved my life, today, I will save your life, from now on, the favor has been repaid completely. Feng Zhuzhe continued. Fang Yuan raised an eyebrow, that is not right. If not for my help, Wu Yong would have already killed you, you helped me and I helped you still owe me a favor. But Feng Zhuzhe continued in a light tone, if I say I owe you nothing, that means my heart is at ease, I have no obligations remaining, what you think is your business. Remember, if I survive this time, I will pursue you as my target, even if you escape to the ends of the world, I will not let you escape, be careful. Ha ha, Fang Yuan could not help but laugh. He understood Feng Zhuzhe's intention. Feng Zhuzhe saved him to repay that favor, but this way, it would go against his righteous path status, his wife and daughter would be in an awkward position. Thus, after Feng Zhuzhe saves Fang Yuan, he would need to pursue him and kill him, to prove his own allegiance and to protect his wife and daughter. Alright, the next time we meet, we will be enemies. Fang Yuan said, opening his Immortal Aperture's entrance, letting He Lulan and the others out. Ancient Battle Formation, Omnidirectional Travel, started to activate. Feng Zhuzhe did not respond, he did not even turn to look at Fang Yuan, he directly flew towards Wu Yong. If Fang Yuan used omnidirectional travel to escape, Wu Yong might chase after all. Thus, to repay this debt, Feng Zhuzhe had to take a risk and personally obstruct Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building. Looking deeply at Feng Zhuzhe for the last time, the ancient battle formation activated and Fang Yuan along with the other immortals vanished on the spot. Wu Yong, who had been watching Fang Yuan and Feng Zhuzhe, smiled bitterly as he saw him leaving. He slightly regretted his arrangement earlier. If he did not come alone, he would be able to take down both Fang Yuan and Feng Zhuzhe. But for the reputation of Wu clan, he had been planning hard to divert the rest of Southern Border's righteous path forces away, he had spread a net so that Fang Yuan would come right at him. This was not far from Western Desert. Fang Yuan's escape was almost certain at this point. I was careless. I did not think that Heavenly Court would help the demon Fang Yuan. Wu Yong watched as Feng Zhuzhe flew towards him, showing a cold and icy gaze. This was the guy who ruined his plans, he deserved death. But, the opponent had immense talent and status, Wu Yong was a little hesitant. There was greater value in capturing Feng Zhuzhe alive than killing him. If he killed Feng Zhuzhe, Wu Yong would be enemies with Heavenly Court and Central Continent, and Heavenly Court currently held the secret that Wu Yihai was Fang Yuan. If he captured him, Wu Yong would be able to negotiate with Central Continent using this bargaining chip. In fact, Wu Yong had been thinking about this earlier, if he wanted to kill Feng Zhuzhe, he would not have attacked like that. Wu Yong was not a hired killer, he was the leader of a super force, he needed to think of many things, not just this battle alone, but also the consequences that would follow. Immortal Killer Move, Separation Song. Feng Zhuzhe was still a distance away from Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building, he used this special move again. Wu Yong snorted, he had already added many GU worms into this Immortal GU house, even though the GU worms were still being separated, it was far weaker now. The intense battle continued. Wu Yong quickly gained the upper hand, even though he was still injured. Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building was too domineering, Feng Zhuzhe could only fight from a distance and use Separation Song against it. Wu Yong was an experienced schemer, after retreating once, he had no problems with retreating again. As long as the Immortal GU house was broken apart to an extent, he would retreat and repair it. Feng Zhuzhe's Separation Song did not have any offensive power, the GU worms that were removed were quickly regained by Wu Yong and he placed them back in again. The only problem for Wu Yong was that Immortal GU houses were not easy to assemble. But this battle was already set. Feng Zhuzhe could not win. If they clashed without either side falling back, Feng Zhuzhe might have some hope of victory. But Wu Yong was not a brute nor a fool, after fighting for some time, he abandoned the pride of a rank 8. In return, he could easily retreat and hold the initiative in his hands. Even the genius Feng Juzhe could only be suppressed, he had no chance of victory. At the same time, in Central Continent's heavenly court, Fairy Ziwei held onto star constellation chessboard as she looked at the battle situation of Feng Juzhe fighting Wu Yang. It is about time, Fairy Ziwei muttered. It turned out that Feng Juzhe's encounter with Fang Yuan was planned by star constellation Heaven's will. With the help of heavenly court, Feng Juzhe managed to meet Fang Yuan, coincidentally, while chasing the theft path Immortal Gu. Even Feng Juzhe was kept in the dark. In fact, even heavenly court was confused, not knowing why star constellation Heavens will plan this. Feng Juzhe's aura was weakening. He was covered in injuries, he could only use one more attack. In contrast, Wu Yang was inside clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building. He was in good condition, the Immortal Gu house had only lost some of its outer layer. Fighting before retreating, before fighting once again. Humans were the most intelligent of all living beings. Wu Yang's proper strategy made Feng Juzhe unable to make a comeback. Feng Juzhe, if you surrender, I can keep you alive and send you back to Central Continent for Heavenly Court's judgment. Wu Yang said plainly. Feng Juzhe smiled. Oh Wu Yang, if you can take my next move, I will surrender to you, why not? Wu Yang's expression froze slightly. Even at this point, Feng Juzhe still had a trump card unused. Back in the day, the reason why I became famous, after receiving the acknowledgement of a rank 8 GU Immortal who accepted that I had rank 8 battle strength, was because of this move. Listen to it, my 7th song. Wait, Feng Juzhe. At this moment, two figures appeared in the battlefield. They both had rank 8 aura. They were GU Immortals from Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects. Wu Yang was surprised, Heavenly Court actually still had such hidden cards, this was out of his expectations. In his opinion, if they had such strength remaining, why did they not use it earlier? Was it because they could not make it in time? Wu Yang guessed. While thinking, Wu Yang sneered. Central Continent's people, you came just in time, I have something to tell you. Not only did you snatch the Immortal Gu of our southern border's righteous path, your members are even defending demons. Wu Yang had no fear. He was defended by the Immortal Gu house, and other southern border righteous path Gu Immortals were coming to reinforce him. But these two Central Continent GU Immortals came prepared. One of them said, even though we are in two different regions, we are all righteous path members, we need to work together. We took the Immortal GU away earlier because we were afraid the demon would destroy them. We are already prepared to return these Immortal GU back to their original owners. Oh, Wu Yang was surprised. The other said, as for defending the demon, we will deal with that. Feng Juzhe, are you willing to swear upon Heavenly Court's orders to pursue Fang Yuan forever, and to not rest until you take his life? Feng Juzhe thought for a moment before replying. I am willing. Chapter 1393 Fang Yuan eats people. A boundless sea of sand, reaching as far as the eye could see. The sky was blue with white clouds and clear rays of the sun. I am finally in Western Desert. A figure emerged from Western Desert's regional wall. Instead of slowing down, he accelerated towards the sky. This youthful-looking person was dressed in a white robe with long sleeves, he had black hair and dark eyes, his face was clear as jade. It was Fang Yuan. Feng Juzhe blocked Wu Yang for him, allowing him to escape. The sovereign immortal body was adept at traveling between regional walls, be it Southern Border's regional wall or Western Desert's regional wall, they could not stop Fang Yuan. In fact, the regional walls were where Fang Yuan was safest, he was like a fish in water. Bai Ningbing, He Lu Lan, and the rest were inside Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture. Thanks to him, they were able to travel through the regional walls, arriving in Western Desert as well. Thankfully, none of them were rank 8 GU immortals, and because Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture had annexed many blessed lands and had sufficient Dao marks and foundation, he could contain these GU immortals. If ordinary GU immortals crossed regional walls, they would need to rest for some time, but with his sovereign immortal body, Fang Yuan traveled through them easily, there were no losses. After the Battle of the Giant Dream Realm, even though Fang Yuan became the new leader of Shadow Sect and inherited Purple Mountain True Monarch's many inheritances, he had lost the identity of Wu Yihai, his Lu Guanyi identity was exposed, and the crucial Dark Limit Immortal GU had fallen into Heavenly Court's hands. And most important, he lost a rank 8 battle strength, Upper Extreme Heavenly Eagle. Along the way, Fang Yuan had been thinking about this battle, summing up his gains and losses. To think that the manifested Dream Realm would be invaded by Heaven's will. If I did not explore the Dream Realm, Heaven's will might not have found me. However, Shadow Sect was going to attack the Dream Realm eventually. Even though I am inside Western Desert now, I lost Dark Limit and was hit by Heavenly Court's investigative killer move, and most importantly, Heaven's will is watching me, my traces are completely exposed. Escaping from Southern Border and arriving in Western Desert was only temporarily alleviating the situation. If Heavenly Court or Heaven's will had enough time to plan, Western Desert would become a dangerous place too. Fang Yuan would be assaulted by countless GU immortals or forces here. Thus, his urgent needs now were to get rid of the investigative killer move on him and find a way to hide from Heaven's will. Western Desert's zombie alliance was destroyed, but there are still a lot of resources left deep within Translocation Desert. Other than that, there are two places that naturally form GU, and can also produce immortal GU, like Southern Border's Jade Pot Mountain. Bai Ningbing's Ice Soul Immortal GU was a wild immortal GU naturally created in Jade Pot Mountain. Because of Shadow Sect's secret operation, Western Desert had many secret spots. Two such spots were like Jade Pot Mountain, there were wild immortal GU about to spawn from them. Undoubtedly, Fang Yuan had to rush to these three locations. Feng Juzhe saved me, the favor is used up. His appearance was too coincidental, it might be part of Heavenly Court's plan. If he chases after me, even if I have reverse flow protection seal, I cannot do anything to him. And most importantly, Central Continent is going to send more experts, after all, it is only a matter of time. Thus, I need to act fast. Thinking of this, a bright light flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes. Immortal Killer Move, Ancient Sword Dragon Transformation. White light flashed, at the next moment, Fang Yuan turned into a slender silvery sword dragon. The sword dragon waved its tail and moved elegantly with rapid speed. Soon, Fang Yuan used Sword Escape Immortal GU on top of the Ancient Sword Dragon transformation. Whoosh, he flew like a silvery light, tearing through space, the speed was unthinkably fast. Several days later, in Translocation Desert. This was one of the more famous deserts in Western Desert. Like how Eastern Sea had Ice Flow Sea Area, Twin Polar Sea Strait, Air Bubble Sea Area, Shark Sea, Elegant Splendorous Sea Area and other mystical sea areas. Western Desert had a large number of deserts scattered all over. They normally had special traits that differentiated them from the others, becoming famous among Western Desert GU Immortals. Rank 6 Transformation Path GU Immortal Yi Zuan, known as Fiend Mosquito, was currently floating above Translocation Desert. He wore thin black leather armor, he had a sharp nose and small eyes, his black hair was messy like weeds, not only was it sticking upwards, it also extended to his shoulder. He, I am Tailing 3 Feather Boy, I might be able to find that corpse city of Zombie Alliance. He was smug internally, sniffing as he tried to smell. Found it. His eyes shone as he followed the smell, rushing down towards Translocation Desert. Seeing that he was getting closer to the ground, Fiend Mosquito did not dodge. When he was almost in contact with the ground, his black armor flickered with eerie light. Boom! With a soft sound, he drilled into the desert like he was jumping into water, vanishing. His field of vision turned dark, Fiend Mosquito had closed his eyes already. The hot sand surrounded his entire body, the temperature was very high, it could instantly cook an egg, before turning it into char. But Fiend Mosquito had his defensive methods, this environment was not unbearable for him. Even if his vision was dark, that was not a problem, Fiend Mosquito was most skilled at pursuing smell, the clues were more evident when traveling in the sand. He continued to travel across the desert. Goo! Suddenly, he pierced out of the sand and arrived in a cave. Fiend Mosquito was not surprised. There were many such caves under Translocation Desert. During the remote antiquity era, two immemorial desolate beasts fought here. One of the immemorial desolate beasts, an Earth Chi Bat Camel, lost the battle and died here. The Earth Chi Bat Camel was a rather unique immemorial desolate beast, it had two forms, bat and camel. When it traveled in the desert, it would become a brown camel large as a mountain, moving slowly. When it wanted to fly, it would turn into a jade bat, small as a fist, and would move extremely quickly. This unique immemorial desolate beast was quite similar to the Sun Moon Kunpeng from Eastern Sea, many GU immortals compared the two. The Sun Moon Kunpeng was a type of immemorial desolate beast living in Eastern Sea. Under the Sun Moon Kunpeng would turn into a giant bird and soar the skies. When under the moon, the Sun Moon Kunpeng would turn into a giant fish and devour the seas, having a grand aura. After the Earth Chi Bat Camel died, its Tao marks spread out and were carved in this desert, creating Translocation Desert. Inside the desert, large amounts of Earth Chi moved, this Earth Chi was like bubbles in water, creating tiny caves. Fiend Mosquito was now inside one of those caves. There was no air here, mortals would die if they came here. They would not die of suffocation, but the earth chi would turn them into stone. GU Immortal Fiend Mosquito was naturally immune to it. In fact, he could collect the earth chi as it was a type of resource as well. But now, he was tailing Three Feather Boy. He was afraid that taking the earth chi would alert the former, thus, he did not do so. He continued to sniff until he sensed Three Feather Boy's scent, continuing to move forward. Along the way, he passed many caves. These caves were varied in sizes, some were like rooms while others were like palaces. Finally, he came to a special cave. The aura here is so dense. Three Feather Boy must be nearby. Fiend Mosquito tried to open his eyes, but soon he was filled with shock. My goodness, this cave is too huge, it is like a mortal town. The earth chi here is so dense that an earth chi sandstorm is brewing. Fiend Mosquito soon found that at the center of this cave, there was a dark and heavy lump of moving sand, oozing with immortal material aura. This sandstorm is made from earth chi, it is a rank 7 immortal material, extremely valuable. Fiend Mosquito was happy but worried. He was happy seeing such a huge immortal material. As a Western Desert lone immortal, this was a huge profit. His worry was that the sandstorm was very wild and had great power, it was hard to take it. Wait, Three Feather Boy's aura is nearby, that means he came here. Why did he not take this huge piece of earth chi essence? Fiend Mosquito's pupils suddenly shrunk, feeling something amiss. At this time, a boyish voice came from behind him. Fiend Mosquito, you are finally here. Hee, I have been waiting for you, go and test the formation for me. Oh no, Fiend Mosquito heard this and shuddered, wanting to dodge. But it was already too late. A storm of feathers made from blue light landed on his body. Fiend Mosquito was unable to help himself, the blue feathers brought him into the sandstorm. Fiend Mosquito's screams could be heard from inside the sandstorm. Three Feather Boy finally appeared now, he was rosy and tender, his young face was plump and very cute, he looked at the sandstorm as he laughed. Soon, Fiend Mosquito's cries came to a stop, blood leaked into the sandstorm but the moving sand quickly devoured it entirely. Three Feather Boy's laughter came to a stop as he had a worried expression. So powerful, he breathed in deeply, as expected of the defensive formation of Western Desert Zombie Alliance's branch. Fiend Mosquito was a rank 6 expert, but he only lasted so long. Who is it? Three Feather Boy turned around and stared ahead with a fixed gaze. Over there, a figure suddenly appeared. Damn, a rank 7 GU Immortal. Three Feather Boy sensed the newcomer's aura and felt bitter internally. He observed carefully, seeing that this GU Immortal had a handsome and gentlemanly appearance, he wore white clothes and had black hair. Even though he was a young man, and even though they were both guys, Three Feather Boy felt amazed at such an appearance. What a handsome person, seeing his demeanor, he seems to be a righteous path GU Immortal. Just as Three Feather Boy was guessing, Feng Yuan looked at him and squinted, having some joy in his tone. Good, this is the third person I've met, after eating you, my appetite will be appeased for some time. What? Three Feather Boy was shocked, he quickly retreated. What righteous path is this? He wants to eat me. Sister, save me. Chapter 1394 Retrieving Western Desert Zombie Alliance's Inheritance. Feng Yuan's words made Three Feather Boy pale with horror, he immediately called for help. A figure rapidly appeared, going to Three Feather Boy and consoling him. Little brother, don't be afraid, big sister is here. This female GU Immortal had a small and dainty body, she was like a little girl wearing a flowery green dress, there were 2 pearl earrings hanging on her ears, as if water was inside the pearls, there were green ripples inside when they shook. I am Kui Bo, who might you be? Is scaring my brother so fun? Feng Yuan assessed this fairy Kui Bo. She was emanating rank 7 GU Immortal aura, she thought that she was on equal status with Feng Yuan, who was also rank 7. Her skin was white as snow, but the green rippling light from her earrings made her look eerie, her face was quite delicate, but her nose was slightly sharp, ruining her image. Feng Yuan rubbed his tummy, sighing, I am speaking the truth, what do you mean by that? Hee, since you have come to me, I shall eat both of you then. The sovereign immortal body's flaw was the need to devour apertures. Feng Yuan had understood this from Purple Mountain True Monarch. Originally, according to Shadow Sect's plan, they sought to refine the rank 10 Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU. Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU was known as Sovereign, it naturally surpassed rank 9, this was the ambition of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Unfortunately, he only managed to refine the rank 9 Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU, and it was snatched away by Feng Yuan. According to Spectral Soul's concept, rank 10 Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU had no weakness, it was nearly perfect. But at rank 9, it had one flaw that was not a flaw. Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU was an immortal GU. Immortal GU needed to be fed. Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU's food were immortal fetuses. What was an immortal fetus? Immortal fetus was an ancient term. For example, apertures were also known as essence pools or purple residences, but most people called them apertures. What was the biggest difference between immortal and mortal? Immortal apertures were also known as immortal fetuses. Except that immortal apertures were a more widely known name. To feed sovereign immortal fetus GU with others immortal apertures, the paths did not matter, but the cultivation level did. For example, as a rank 7, Fang Yuan needed to annex rank 7 immortal apertures now to feed sovereign immortal fetus GU. When he becomes rank 8, he would need rank 8 immortal apertures. The perfect rank 10 sovereign immortal fetus GU did not need any food, it could create a truly perfect immortal body from the GU. Unlike Fang Yuan currently, even though he had the sovereign immortal body, he could still be turned back into the sovereign immortal fetus GU if an appropriate method was used. Right now, even though Fang Yuan used sovereign immortal fetus GU and obtained the sovereign immortal body, the flaw was still left behind. Thankfully, Fang Yuan changed his cultivation plan earlier. The time in the immortal aperture was slowed. By giving up some time path resources, he avoided heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities, annexing other people's apertures to raise his cultivation level. This way, through a stroke of luck, he managed to feed the sovereign immortal body. Fang Yuan did not lie to Three Feather Boy. On the way here, Fang Yuan met 3 rank 6 Western Desert GU immortals and killed them, capturing their souls and annexing 2 of their immortal apertures. Fang Yuan could not annex the final one because of attainment level, he let it become a blessed land. Fairy Kui Bo and Three Feather Boy were a strong duo. They schemed and deceived Fiend Mosquito into entering the GU formation, testing it for them while Fairy Kui Bo waited in ambush nearby. When they met ordinary rank 7 GU immortals, Fairy Kui Bo could talk to them equally, but unfortunately they met Fang Yuan. Coincidentally, a rank 7 GU immortal who cultivates water path appeared. After eating her, I will not need to worry about sovereign immortal fetus GU's food for some time. Fang Yuan was filled with killing intent. It was rare to find someone whose immortal aperture he could annex. Especially in Western Desert where Fire Path and Wind Path were the most popular paths, while Water Path was very rare, forming a clear contrast to Eastern Sea. Fang Yuan was a Water Path Grandmaster, but his Fire Path and Wind Path attainment levels were just ordinary. Rumble. Fang Yuan struck rapidly, using his immortal killer move, Myriad Self-First Style, Giant Hand. Immediately, a huge hand pushed away the air and charged at Fairy Kui Bo and Three Feather Boy with an overwhelming aura. Three Feather Boy shouted in shock as he dodged. Fairy Kui Bo also showed a look of surprise. She waved her hand as green acid appeared. The acid moved like a snake, landing on the giant hand and corroding it by 20%. However, the giant hand still had 80% of its power left. Under Fang Yuan's manipulation, it ignored Three Feather Boy and rushed towards Fairy Kui Bo. Fairy Kui Bo retreated as she called out, "Hold on, I am the third concubine of Thousand Transformations Ancestor. Why don't you give Ancestor face, becoming allies with us and sharing this zombie alliance treasure?" Even though Fairy Kui Bo had rank 7 cultivation level, her strength was not impressive, it was very ordinary. But her status was quite extraordinary. She was related to Thousand Transformations Ancestor. Even though Fang Yuan had little information of Western Desert's GU Immortal world, he knew about the reputation of Thousand Transformations Ancestor. This ancestor cultivated transformation path solely. When he was young, he obtained a portion of Reckless Savage Demon Venerable's true inheritance. He had 1,000 transformations. Thus, he was called Thousand Transformations Ancestor. Even though he inherited a Demon Venerable's true inheritance, he was not a demonic path GU Immortal, he was a famous lone immortal in Western Desert. His personal interest was similar to Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. He loved beautiful women and had hundreds or even thousands of wives and concubines. Among them were nearly 10 GU immortals. Fairy Kui Bo was one of them. If I take Western Desert Zombie Alliance's inheritance, I will also get Thousand Transformations Ancestor's animosity. Fang Yuan frowned. Fairy Kui Bo dodged as she observed his expression, before saying, "I came here due to Ancestor's orders. Sir, you have such battle strength, but it is not possible to get through the defensive GU formation using brute force. The treasure has not appeared yet, why must we fight to the death now? If we waste time, unexpected mishaps might occur." Fairy Kui Bo was quite talented at speaking. Fang Yuan nodded, "You make sense." Fairy Kui Bo and Three Feather Boy were overjoyed upon hearing this, but immediately after, Fang Yuan opened his immortal aperture's entrance and let out Bai Ningbing, He Lu Lan, and Fairy Miao Yin. Go kill these two, I will take the inheritance here. Fang Yuan said. Bai Ningbing snorted. Even though she was unhappy with Fang Yuan giving orders, she still charged towards Fairy Kui Bo. He Lu Lan fought against Three Feather Boy. Fairy Miao Yin smiled lightly, watching from the side to reinforce them. Fairy Kui Bo and Three Feather Boy were truly in fear now. They did not expect that Fang Yuan's immortal aperture would have 3 GU immortals, and all of them were from other regions. This was very rare. GU immortals would not let other GU immortals hide inside their immortal apertures for no reason. Soon, Fairy Kui Bo and Three Feather Boy were heavily suppressed, they could not retaliate against He and Bai. These two are 10 extreme immortals. Their methods are impressive, I have never seen them before. I remember now, they are fugitives. Demonic scoundrels. This person is one of the culprits behind the fall of 88 Truyong building. Three Feather Boy and Fairy Kui Bo realized some information about Fang Yuan and the others, they were even more shocked now, they lost their morale and tried to escape. He and Bai chased after them, quickly getting out of this cave. Fang Yuan stood before the sandstorm, using his method that had been brewing for some time. In a few breaths' time, the sandstorm weakened, splitting in the center and revealing a path. Fang Yuan entered without hesitation. Fairy Miao Yin was still standing guard outside against any intruders. The sandstorm became larger after Fang Yuan entered, the path vanished as it returned to the original state. A city soon appeared in Fang Yuan's vision. Corpse City. Looking at it, this was a city made from yellow clay, it was not impressive. But the truth was, this city was a huge mortal GU house, it was like the Dark Flow Giant City in Northern Plains Zombie Alliance's branch. However, Western Desert Zombie Alliance's branch was different from the one in Northern Plains. The true base of Western Desert Zombie Alliance's branch was an Earth Path Blessed Land. Corpse City was inside the Blessed Land. Back then, when Shadow Sect activated their 100,000-year plan to defy heaven and refine sovereign immortal fetus GU, they lost nearly everything. The Blessed Land base of Western Desert Zombie Alliance's branch was discarded, the resources inside were hidden in Corpse City, the entire mortal GU house was moved to underneath Translocation Desert, and a defensive GU formation was activated. This method allowed Western Desert Zombie Alliance to preserve most of its foundation. Not long after the Battle of Yitian Mountain, the former Earth Path Blessed Land of Western Desert Zombie Alliance was broken into by Western Desert GU Immortals. But when they plundered it, these Western Desert GU Immortals were not satisfied, they became angry from this. Because they did not get the loot that they planned to get. After their constant investigation and deduction, along with the secret help of Heaven's Will, they finally found this Translocation Desert, and confirmed that Western Desert Zombie Alliance's inheritance was hidden here. But to find the exact cave was not easy. Not only were these caves numerous like the stars in the sky, most importantly, these caves were constantly moving. At every moment, old caves vanished while new caves appeared. This made the Western Desert GU Immortal search difficult. Fang Yuan was different, he was the leader of Shadow Sect, he got here and entered Corpse City, it was simply too easy for him. However, meeting Fairy Kui Bo here was likely the plot of Heaven's Will. To make me oppose a rank 8 great expert the moment I enter Western Desert. Along with me, Bai Ningbing and the others have been hit with investigative killer moves. I need to relocate these inheritances as soon as possible. Fang Yuan opened his Immortal Aperture's entrance and waved his hand, as the entire Corpse City entered his Immortal Aperture. Corpse City did not have Immortal GU stored up, but the defensive GU formation used Immortal GU as the core. There were a total of 2 Immortal GU, one of them was Fang Yuan's main objective in this journey. Chapter 1395 Scaring Away 3 Rank 7s. From the appearance, this resembled a rhinoceros beetle. Fang Yuan held it in his palm, feeling the heavy stone-like weight. It had a huge carapace and a thick head, giving people the feeling of strength. Its tall and long forked horn seemed like a spear stabbing towards the sky. Rule Path Rank 7 Immortal GU, Fight. This Immortal GU was Fang Yuan's biggest gain this time. With his status as Shadow Sect's leader, Fang Yuan quickly refined this GU and kept it in his Immortal Aperture. Other than that, there was another Immortal GU. It was Rank 6 Earth Path, called Yellow Sand. This Immortal GU looked like a ladybug and had a round carapace with 6 yellow stars on it. With Rank 7 Immortal GU Fight and Rank 6 Immortal GU Yellow Sand, as well as some Mortal GU, the dense Earth Chi inside these caves, and Earth Path Dao marks, Western Desert Zombie Alliance created this defensive GU formation. But as Fang Yuan gathered GU worms into his Immortal Aperture, the GU formation broke apart and collapsed. Fang Yuan took another look at the treasury of Corpse City. Within the mortal GU house, there were lots of immortal materials. The most precious one was the Cold Moon Divine Bravery. It was a rank 7 immortal material condensed from moonlight at the center of the desert, taking 10,000 years to form. Inside Treasure Yellow Heaven, it was priceless. The quantity was so few that even rank 8 GU immortals did not have much. The one with the most quantity was a rank 6 immortal material, phosphorescent wood. This grew in Fierce Ghost Desert, in the territory of Western Desert Zombie Alliance. There was a lot of phosphorescent wood. This was the accumulation of the Western Desert Zombie Alliance branch after countless years. This shows the massive foundation that Shadow Sect once had. Unfortunately, to refine Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU, they invested too much. After the Battle of Yitian Mountain, their remaining forces were targeted by Heaven's Will, Heavenly Court, as well as me. Fang Yuan sighed internally. Ying Wuxie and gang had already visited the other branches. Central Continent, Northern Plains, and Southern Borders Zombie Alliance inheritance had already been used up. Over at Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance branch, the Eastern Sea GU Immortals had taken over and were in control of it. And now, the final Western Desert inheritance was in Fang Yuan's hands. This was the final bit of fortune that Shadow Sect had. Other than this, there were some minor things, but in Western Desert, the only things that Fang Yuan cared about were the resource points similar to Jade Pot Mountain. Shadow Sect had secretly nurtured them to spawn wild immortal GU. In the underground cave, Fairy Miao Yin and Fang Yuan waited for some time. A white-clothed person walked in. It was Dragon Lady Bai Ningbing. She was cold like an icy mountain. Her robe was white as snow. She was holding a captive in her hands. It was Fairy Kuibo from earlier. Right now, she was a frozen popsicle. Her eyes were shut and her body was covered in frost. She did not move. She was at Bai Ningbing's mercy. Bai Ningbing actually captured Fairy Kuibo. This result made Fairy Miao Yin praise her as Fang Yuan's eyes shone. Even though Bai Ningbing had rank 6 cultivation level, her battle strength was truly at rank 7, and one of the stronger experts among rank 7 too. Northern Dark Ice Soul Physique of the 10 extreme physiques complemented by Zhang's true inheritance to display many times the original effect. And most importantly, Bai Ningbing did not fear death. She was someone with incredible talent. Back in Southern Border, she had fought against 3 and killed 2 while heavily injuring the last one. The results were incredible. And now, she forcefully captured a rank 7 GU Immortal. Her battle strength was only second to Fang Yuan now. Even though we captured Fairy Kuibo, I am in no rush to annex her immortal aperture. Fang Yuan thought. Firstly, this place was filled with earth chi and did not have heaven chi. It was not suitable to place immortal aperture. Earlier, the rank 6 GU immortal fiend Mosquito in the defensive GU formation had turned into sand. Both his immortal aperture and corpse were of no value now. Fang Yuan was not hungry now. He was not at the point of needing food yet. And most importantly, Fairy Kuibo was related to the rank 8 GU Immortal Thousand Transformations ancestor. He could use her to alleviate some of Heaven's Will's schemes. Since you captured her, you can keep her inside your immortal aperture. Fang Yuan said to Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing nodded. She could not turn back now. She was pursued by both Heavenly Court and Southern Border. She also needed Shadow Sect's help to refine GU. She had to cooperate with Fang Yuan. He Lulan returned too. There were traces of blood on her. That boy was burned to ashes. His immortal aperture was destroyed too. Additionally, the battle attracted a bunch of Western Desert GU immortals, but I did not fight them. I returned immediately. Their aura shows they are not simple. Fang Yuan nodded. Even though He Lulan had just undergone her immortal ascension, she already had very keen insight. Her evaluation was unlikely to be wrong. These Western Desert GU immortals should be experts among rank 7s. It was no wonder. Western Desert Zombie Alliance was a super force after all. It was normal for the Western Desert GU immortals to come to search for its inheritance. Even super forces would pay attention to it. Moreover, don't forget Heaven's Will was here trying to cause more problems for them. We will leave now, Fang Yuan said, but before he finished, 3 figures emerged from left, right, and above him. Friend, you are dreaming if you want to leave after getting Zombie Alliance's inheritance. At the left, a thin young-looking GU immortal with rainbow feathers laughed shrilly. He was a rank 7 GU immortal who cultivated enslavement path, known as Peacock Deity. You can leave, but you need to leave a portion of Zombie Alliance's inheritance for us. A female immortal above him wore a traditional Western Desert white dress. Her face was half concealed by a veil. Her beautiful eyes had thick and long eyelashes on them. This beauty was a famous fairy in Western Desert's GU immortal world. Her status was on par with Chao Si Lu and Fairy Miao Yin. She was called Beautiful Camel Immortal. To the right was a GU immortal with a beard and bare chest. His muscular body and strong arms, along with his bronze skin and deep breathing, made him seem like a powerful person. He had a huge background, because his surname was Dong. Dong clan was a super clan of Western Desert. Dong Lai Feng, Wind Path Rank 7 expert, most skilled at tracking and following people. 2 Southern Border, 1 Northern Plains, and 1 Western Desert GU immortal. Why such a motley crew? Dong Lai Feng frowned. Fang Yuan had the sovereign immortal body and was in Western Desert. He had the aura of a Western Desert GU immortal. He Lu Lan underwent immortal ascension in Northern Plains. She was a Northern Plains GU immortal. Bai Ningbing and Fairy Miao Yin were both Southern Border GU immortals. GU immortals of other regions were usually ostracized. In this regard, Eastern Sea displayed it the least, but the other 4 regions normally hated outsiders. GU immortals of other regions usually acted with a low profile because any strife or conflict would cause them to be ganged up upon by everyone. Be it Peacock Deity, Beautiful Camel Immortal, or Dong Lai Feng, they had ugly expressions. Because Fang Yuan and the others took away Zombie Alliance's inheritance. This belonged to them in their minds. These are GU immortals of other regions. We can put down our differences and work together to kill all of these outsider GU immortals first. That's right, Western Desert is ruled by us Western Desert natives. These outsiders want to steal our treasures in our territory. Hand over Zombie Alliance's inheritance and we might spare your lives. The 3 Western Desert GU immortals shouted. At the same time, they communicated secretly. Be careful, they have 2 rank 7 and 2 rank 6 GU immortals. Those 2 rank 6s are not simple, their auras are strange. That rank 7 youngster seems quite familiar. Where have I seen him before him? Dong Lai Feng's pupils shrunk as he realized Fang Yuan's identity. Fang Yuan was currently using his real appearance. Since he knew about the investigative killer move on him, and since familiar face used up mental energy and immortal essence, he decided to stop concealing his identity since it was pointless. He is Lu Guanyi. Dong Lai Feng thought in shock. He immediately retreated. Swoosh, he spiraled away, vanishing in an instant. Beautiful Camel Immortal and Peacock Deity were stunned. What happened? They were still filled with battle intent earlier and discussing about battle tactics, but now, Dong Lai Feng ran away. Was he hit by a peculiar killer move from the enemy? Or did he retreat on his own? Wait, Beautiful Camel Immortal's expression also changed. She realized that Fang Yuan was Lu Guanyi. After the Battle of Reverse Flow River, Lu Guanyi became famous in all 5 regions. His appearance was known to all. This level of popularity varied in the 5 regions. Northern Plains was the most informed about it, while Central Continent also knew a lot because Heavenly Court participated in the battle. As for the other 3 regions, some knew about Lu Guanyi's appearance, but others only heard about the matter. They did not have much information. After all, in their minds, Lu Guanyi was a Northern Plains GU immortal. He was not in the same region as them. Like earlier, Fairy Kui Bo did not manage to recognize Fang Yuan, ending up as a captive. Beautiful Camel Immortal recognized Fang Yuan and immediately gasped. Why would she stay here? She escaped immediately. What a joke, this person could rival rank 8 experts. How could she fight him? Trying to find trouble with him was courting death. At the same time, Beautiful Camel Immortal scolded Dong Lai Feng in her mind. He ran so quickly without informing them. But in his perspective, if Beautiful Camel Immortal found out about Fang Yuan's identity first, she would do the same. After all, when escaping, not only did you and your enemy's speed matter, the important thing was the difference in speed between you and your allies. Peacock Deity was dazed. Beautiful Camel Immortal fled too. Oh no. At this moment, Peacock Deity felt something amiss. Even though he did not understand why, he had a lot of life experience, he immediately reacted. His body shook as he flew away like lightning. He was even faster than Beautiful Camel Immortal. Before Fang Yuan did anything, these 3 Western Desert rank 7 experts fled in fear. Fang Yuan looked at the sky as he snickered. Even if heavens will plotted, so what? As long as Fang Yuan was strong enough, no matter who was instigated, their survival instincts would take over at the crucial moment. Earlier, when he escaped around Southern Border, it was because his enemies were too strong. But in fact, Fang Yuan was already a GU Immortal expert. Ordinary rank 7 GU Immortals could not even face him directly. Chapter 1396 Soaring Fighting Spirit. HMPH, a bunch of clowns. Bai Ningbing snorted coldly. He Lu Lan was silent, feeling deep emotions. Peacock Deity, Beautiful Camel Immortal, and Dong Lifeng were rank 7 experts, even in southern border, although they could not compare to old Treeman Bada and Wu clans Wu Yubo, they could match Wu Yiran. That Beautiful Camel Immortal had status similar to Fairy Miao Yin and Chao Si Lu in Western Desert's GU Immortal world. But against Fang Yuan, who could rival rank 8s, they were simply too weak. Unknowingly, he had already grown to this extent. Such terrifying growth speed. He Lu Lan's heart was truly in a commotion. Her battle strength had surged greatly as well. But after her immortal ascension, she had been pursued constantly, she rarely had time to flaunt her strength. This time, when the enemies ran away from them, she finally realized their side was truly powerful. Their earlier encounters were because the enemies were too powerful. Heavenly Court, Longevity Heaven, and the entire Righteous Path Alliance of Southern Border. The truth was, as long as there were no rank 8 GU Immortals, with their power, they could rampage unhindered. In the entire GU Immortal world, rank 8 GU Immortals are very few. As long as we get rid of the investigative killer moves on us, we can hide ourselves and develop quietly. With such strength, most GU Immortals cannot obstruct our development. He Lu Lan thought of this as her ambitions grew again. She was a bold and formidable person, her ambitions were huge. Even though she was restrained by Shadow Sex Alliance agreement, she was not going to be an obedient subordinate of Fang Yuan forever. Alright, we got what we want, let's go. Fang Yuan said. Bai Ningbing, He Lu Lan, and Fairy Miao Yin gathered together. The 4 immortals worked together and used the ancient battle formation, omnidirectional travel. Whoosh, with a bright light, they vanished. When they opened their eyes, they were above an ordinary sand dune. The sun was hanging in the sky, as the sand below them were heated and the air was distorted from heat, they felt a strong wave of hot air blowing at them. Fang Yuan looked afar. Translocation Desert was over there. They were far away now. We will rest here, guard the surroundings, Fang Yuan said as he opened his Immortal Aperture's entrance, letting Lady White Rabbit out. He was now the leader of Shadow Sect. He had Shadow Sect's information. All these members, wandering other regions, chose to obey Fang Yuan. The 4 immortals flew out and concealed themselves, using their investigative methods. Fang Yuan entered the desert and went deep underground, creating a small cave in the sand. This cave was very simple, but Fang Yuan used some mortal GU to create a GU formation. Not only did he reinforce this cave, he even allowed fresh air to come in. Fang Yuan was a formation path grandmaster, such a mortal GU formation was as easy as breathing to him. After creating it, Fang Yuan did not waste time, he sat down and shut his eyes. He raced against time and quickly used an immortal killer move. This move was called Soaring Fighting Spirit. It was a non-mainstream wisdom path killer move that Fang Yuan got from Purple Mountain True Monarch's inheritance. This move only had one core immortal GU, it was the Rule Path rank 7 immortal GU that Fang Yuan obtained from Corpse City's defensive GU formation, Fight. The other supplementary GU worms were all mortal GU, and most were wisdom path. It was a rank 7 immortal killer move after all. Even though time was pressing, Fang Yuan was not overly rushing it. He moved step by step, meticulously. GU worms were activated as profound lights formed, enveloping the sky of Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture. As the number of mortal GU increased, the profound lights became deeper in color. After reaching the limit, Fang Yuan started to instill Red Date Immortal Essence into Fight Immortal GU. The Immortal Essence expenditure was not high, only using 3 beads, the back of Fight GU opened up as it started to fly, drawing a silver trace in the sky using its body. This trace entered the profound light, it shined instantly with a blinding glare. Boom! The profound light exploded, fading instantly. A large number of mortal GU were destroyed, even Fight GU fell to the ground. The killer move activation failed. The backlash made Fang Yuan's soul shake as he suffered major injuries. Thoughts were rampaging in his mind, countless thoughts collided or destroyed themselves uncontrollably. Fang Yuan started to think about random things as absurd thoughts filled his mind. But he was prepared for it, he held on and endured it. After a dozen breaths, the thoughts in his mind settled down. Fang Yuan was pale and let out a breath of air, healing his injuries. The injuries on his body were mild, but his soul was heavily injured and his mind was also hurt badly. It was not surprising. This immortal killer move was used for the first time. Even though Fang Yuan simulated it earlier, the actual use of it would definitely be different from his deductions. The stronger the immortal killer move, the greater the backlash when its activation fails. And backlash also had different types. Like this time, Fang Yuan's body was not injured much, his soul and mind were the ones which suffered. After some healing, Fang Yuan recovered from his injuries. Currently, although Fang Yuan did not have any strong immortal healing methods, he had sufficient ways. If his body got injured, he had Time Path Immortal Gu Man as before. If his soul was injured, he had Guts Gu. His mind was injured this time, but Fang Yuan also had many Wisdom Path methods to heal himself. These were all inherited from Purple Mountain True Monarch. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body had non-conflicting Dao marks, the healing effect was very good. Of course, with an injured mind, just these small methods could not completely resolve the issue, but the lingering symptoms were of no concern. Fang Yuan ignored these, he continued to try and activate the immortal killer move, Soaring Fighting Spirit. He failed the second time but finally succeeded on the third time. Inside the sovereign immortal aperture, a profound light flowed like water, turning from a spread-out cloud to a condensed basin-size shape. Go! At Fang Yuan's will, this round profound light shot down and landed on Ying Wuxie. Ying Wuxie was still in the pure dream reality seeker physique body, but he had suffered too big of an impact, he was like a corpse lying on the ground, lifeless and dull. The profound light landed on him like water going into the soil, it directly went into Ying Wuxie's brain. Not just that, a big portion went into his soul. The entire process was very fast, it completely fused into him with just a few breaths of time. Ying Wuxie's body shook. Next, his eyes burst out with sharp light. Ah! He opened his mouth and shouted, before jumped and sitting up. Damn it, damn it! He clenched his fists, veins were popping on his arms, his fingers were cracking. Heavenly Court captured my main body, this is unforgivable. I must get back my main body, I must save him, even if it is Heavenly Court, I will smash them to bits. Ah! Ying Wuxie continued to shout, he stood up and screamed at the sky. I want to fight, I must persevere, I was too weak-willed earlier, that was not right. Oh Fang Yuan, you are a complete otherworldly demon, since Lord Purple acknowledged you, I will do the same. In this world, who has a chance of destroying Fate Gu? You are the most likely person. I believe that you can lead us and charge into Heavenly Court, destroy Fate Gu and rescue my main body. Ying Wuxie was no longer as depressed as earlier, he was like a new person. Good. Fang Yuan nodded in satisfaction. Ying Wuxie's display showed he had not wasted his efforts. Ying Wuxie's battle strength was rank 7, but he had the ultimate lead soul into Dream Killer move, even rank 8 Gu immortals could not defend against him, or even immortal Gu houses. If Ying Wuxie helped them during the battle against Wu Yong might have died. Ying Wuxie regained his fighting spirit, not only did it increase Fang Yuan's strength, it also involved another person. Sixth Hair. Inside Langya Blessed Land, in a refinement hall. Rumble. Earth fire burst up and exploded like thunder. From the flames, a figure jumped out. This person was covered in black hair, had a brawny figure and was coughing pathetically. It was Langya Land Spirit. Cough, cough, I failed again. Damn it, if I used the nature refinement method of my race, the immortal Gu refinement would have succeeded already. But that Fang Yuan wants to use the human isolation style to refine the immortal Gu, isn't he just making things difficult for me? Langya Land Spirit complained incessantly. At this moment, a voice came from outside the door. I am Sixth Hair, requesting to meet Lord First Supreme Elder. Sixth Hair, what is it? Facing his fellow hairy man, Langya Land Spirit had an amiable disposition. I want to help First Supreme Elder refine Gu, it will help with raising my refinement path attainment. Sixth Hair answered, bright light shining deep in his eyes. Langya Land Spirit was most skilled at the hairy man heaven and earth style Gu refinement method. But this method would never succeed in refining Fang Yuan's Gu. Because this method attracted heaven's will and even heavenly tribulations or earthly calamities. Only the human isolation method had a chance of success. Langya Land Spirit did not know this, and as a matter of fact, he did not excel at the human isolation style. As a hairy man supremacist, he scoffed at the human isolation style, looking down on it. In terms of success rate, the hairy man heaven and earth style was far superior to the human isolation style. Langya Land Spirit was not familiar with this method, but Sixth Hair was. Sixth Hair was a split soul of spectral soul, he was skilled at the human style. But when he lived in Langya Blessed Land all these years, he did not expose that talent. Until now. O Fang Yuan, since you obtained the acknowledgement of Ying Wuxie, I will try and accept you as the leader of Shadow Sect. Let me help you to refine the immortal Gu. This was where Sixth Hair could help Fang Yuan the most. Even though exposing his talent would be risky and attract Lang Ya land spirit's suspicion, putting Sixth Hair in danger, he could not care about it now. Being able to help Shadow Sect would be good enough. Chapter 1397 Switching Souls with Ying Wuxie. His wavy black hair flowed down to his shoulders. He had a tall nose, his lips were sharp like blades, he was currently pressing his lips together lightly, showing a cold and cool demeanor. It was Ying Wuxie's soul. Now, he had already left the pure dream reality seeker physique body, his soul was floating in the air. This body, Ying Wuxie frowned, looking at the ice coffin in front of him. This ice coffin was emitting frost energy at all times, it was translucent like a crystal, a GU Immortal was sealed inside. Her body was small and dainty, she was like a little girl wearing a flowery green dress, there were 2 pearl earrings hanging on her ears, as if water was inside the pearls, there were green ripples inside when they shook. Her eyes were shut, with Bai Ningbing sealing her in the ice, even the thoughts in her mind were frozen, her life was in their hands. This female immortal was none other than the Western Desert GU Immortal who, out of lack of knowledge, did not flee from Fang Yuan immediately and got captured by Bai Ningbing, Fairy Kui Bo. Seeing Ying Wuxie's hesitation, Fang Yuan urged, "In this situation, how can we find another suitable body for you? Just use this for now." Ying Wuxie nodded. "Sigh, this is the only way, let's start." Fang Yuan waved his right hand as a rank 7 immortal GU flew out from his hand. This immortal GU was like a swan's egg, it was translucent, and from the outside, jade light could be seen in it. When it was close, Fang Yuan could feel a bone-chilling coldness emitting from this immortal GU. This cold was different from the frost of the ice coffin. The ice coffin's coldness was bone-piercing, but this immortal GU's coldness was targeted directly at the soul. Ying Wuxie's soul shuddered uncontrollably when this immortal GU came out. On the other end, Bai Ningbing watched quietly, her gaze was attracted to this rank 7 immortal GU. This is Change Soul Immortal GU. Bai Ningbing thought to herself. Indeed, it was Change Soul Immortal GU. This immortal GU's history was quite complex. It was first refined by Green of Spectral Soul's first-generation split souls. It was then passed to Spirit Affinity House's Fairy Mo Yao. To save her lover Bo Qing, Mo Yao used Change Soul to swap her soul with Bo Qing. Bo Qing's remnant soul was saved by Shadow Sect and hidden inside Central Continent's Earth Abyss. They tried healing him but his injuries were too severe, he was captured by Heavenly Court in the end. Meanwhile, Mo Yao's remnant soul was left inside Bo Qing's immortal zombie body, and Change Soul Immortal GU, as well as Bo Qing's Sword Path Immortal GU, were all left behind. After this, Fang Yuan went into Falling Heavenly River and used Mo Yao's will to lure out some immortal GU, including Change Soul Immortal GU. But even though Fang Yuan used the light of wisdom to refine these immortal GU, he knew nothing about Change Soul Immortal GU. Only when Star Constellation Heaven's will directed Fang Yuan and gave him a powerful killer move for switching souls, did Fang Yuan learn about its effect. Fang Yuan switched souls in his dream and took over Ying Wuxie's body at the most crucial moment. He successfully plotted against Spectral Soul and took away Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU. One could say, during the Battle of Yitian Mountain, Shadow Sect lost completely and Fang Yuan managed to turn it around for himself. This Change Soul Immortal GU played a crucial role. And now, this Immortal GU was used once again, but this time, Fang Yuan was not dealing with Shadow Sect, he was helping it. He had even become the leader of Shadow Sect himself. Events in life were truly unpredictable. Before this, be it Fang Yuan or Shadow Sect, who could have expected this outcome? Under the effect of Change Soul, Ying Wuxie's soul and Fairy Kui Bo's soul were switched. "What are you doing? What have you done with me?" Fairy Kui Bo's soul left the ice coffin and woke up, screaming in terror. But she lacked a body, even though her soul was screaming, the only thing that came out would be meaningless screeches to a person's ear. Of course, Fang Yuan understood them. He had soul language GU worms, they were mortal GU and he possessed a huge quantity of them, inherited from Purple Mountain True Monarch. Fang Yuan snickered, waving lightly towards Fairy Kui Bo's soul. Fairy Kui Bo felt an irresistible force as she floated towards Fang Yuan's hand. "No," she screamed loudly, her voice was so shrill that even Bai Ningbing frowned lightly. At the next moment, she was stuffed into the Sovereign Immortal Aperture by Fang Yuan's method. Even though Bai Ningbing had already soul-searched Fairy Kui Bo and she had no secrets left, her GU Immortal Soul itself could be used. Danghun Mountain was an effective way to use her. GU Immortal Souls, especially human GU Immortal Souls with higher cultivation level, would have deeper foundations. After they were smashed on Danghun Mountain, the guts GU produced would be higher in quantity. But now, Fang Yuan had other methods to deal with her. Thanks to Purple Mountain True Monarch's inheritance, there were many soul path methods recorded inside. One of them was a way to refine a GU immortal soul into a human-shaped soul beast. Fairy Kui Bo, with rank 7 cultivation level, would become an ancient soul beast. If Fang Yuan refined her into a soul beast, he did not need to use any enslavement path methods, he could make her obey him with absolute loyalty. After becoming the leader of Shadow Sect, Fang Yuan's greatest gain was in methods and killer moves. Even though there were many immortal materials and immortal GU, their value in total was still lower. But these methods needed time to be converted into true battle strength. And Fang Yuan was now facing the pursuit of enemies, he lacked time. Fairy Kui Bo's soul was suppressed, and Fang Yuan stored away changed soul immortal GU. At this time, Bai Ningbing let out Fairy Kui Bo from the ice coffin. Or rather, it was Ying Wuxie inside Fairy Kui Bo's body. So cold, Ying Wuxie muttered, he was still covered in frost. Bai Ningbing gave a wave, the frost on Ying Wuxie's body vanished. Ying Wuxie expressed his gratitude before receiving a large number of GU worms from Fang Yuan. He received a large amount of mortal GU and immortal GU, as well as immortal essence stones. You still want me to use lead soul into dream? Ying Wuxie saw these GU worms and was surprised. Take them, I already know about lead soul into dream. This killer move is too complex, I cannot master it in a short time. We were hit by Heavenly Court's investigative killer move earlier, we need your battle strength. Fang Yuan said calmly. Ying Wuxie nodded deeply, his eyes were shining as he clenched his fists. Sect leader, you are right, I will not let you down. Bai Ningbing had a look of suspicion in her gaze. Even though Ying Wuxie regained his morale, his personality seemed to have changed. Fang Yuan nodded in agreement, but he understood. Wisdom Path had thoughts, wills, and emotions. Ying Wuxie was originally depressed, but because his fighting spirit was renewed, his personality had changed slightly, it was natural. Sect leader, what are we going to do next? Tell us. Even if we are attacking Heavenly Court, I will follow you. Damn these righteous path scoundrels, I will kill all of them. Ying Wuxie said as he waved his arms, he was extremely excited, his huge plump chest was bouncing up and down in response. Fang Yuan pondered, Heavenly Court's pursuit is the problem I want to address. They are the people most familiar with our information, the GU immortals they send will definitely be too strong for us to resist. Fang Yuan thought of this as he frowned. He thought of Feng Juzhe. Feng Juzhe said that he had met Fang Yuan and the others because he was pursuing an immortal GU related to thieving heaven demon Venerable. But their encounter was simply too coincidental. Was Feng Juzhe the backup plan of Heavenly Court? It seemed like it, yet not really. Fang Yuan thought in their shoes, if I were Heavenly Court, I would do my best to deal with the remnant forces of Shadow Sect, and deal a fatal blow. Sending Feng Juzhe seems to be a poor decision. Fang Yuan did not understand this. There was little chance of Heavenly Court making a mistake. Heavenly Court dealt with Shadow Sect and attacked twice with great effect. The first was during the Battle of Yitian Mountain, and the second was the Battle of the Giant Dream Realm. These were two crucial battles, because of Heavenly Court's interference, Shadow Sect lost and Spectral Soul's 100,000-year plan was foiled. I became the leader of Shadow Sect and Heavenly Court immediately makes a careless mistake. No, there is something that I am not understanding. Fang Yuan thought to himself. At the same time, someone emerged from Western Desert's regional wall. He had a tall body, sharp brows and bright eyes, his expression was warm and he had a graceful demeanor, making people feel admiration towards him. It was Feng Juzhe. With such a rank 8 immortal GU, crossing the regional wall is countless times easier now. Feng Juzhe looked behind, recalling the scene earlier. Two Heavenly Court rank 8 GU immortals suddenly appeared and stopped Feng Juzhe's and Wu Yong's battle. Heavenly Court returned the GU worms of Southern Border's righteous path, and because Wu Yong was already injured, he accepted this result and left. Feng Juzhe, you have already vowed upon it, from now on, go pursue Fang Yuan and Shadow Sect. This rank 8 immortal GU will be lent to you, in the future, when you face rank 8 GU immortals, it will not be so difficult. But against Fang Yuan, you need to be careful of one thing. The Heavenly Court GU immortals instructed Feng Juzhe. Feng Juzhe was confused, asking, what do you mean? The Heavenly Court GU immortals had dark gazes. Fang Yuan is a complete otherworldly demon, he needs to be killed. But it is not enough to kill him. Red Lotus Demon Venerable's chosen pawn is Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan has Spring Autumn Cicada and is now the leader of Shadow Sect. He will definitely head to the River of Time and find the Stone Lotus Islands to inherit Red Lotus, true inheritance. Red Lotus Demon Venerable's true inheritance is hidden deep in the river of time, it is incredibly concealed. Pursue Fang Yuan and force him to find Red Lotus, true inheritance, before destroying him along with Red Lotus, true inheritance. Feng Juji's gaze flickered, he finally understood Heavenly Court's true objective. Fang Yuan, Red Lotus, true inheritance. Back in reality, Feng Juzhe muttered as he flew into the sky, directly towards the location where Fang Yuan and the others were hiding. Chapter 1398, 1000 Transformations Ancestor. The sun was blazing, the rays were like countless arrows shooting down at this majestic desert. On this desert, there were countless sand statues. These statues made from sand had the forms of humans or beasts, some were fighting while some were lying down, looking like they were on their final breaths. There were larger and smaller sand statues, but the smallest one was tens of feet tall. Countless statues formed a forest of sand statues, it was a grand sight. It was the Myriad Statue Desert. This desert was huge, there were countless sand statues in it, everyone in Western Desert's GU Immortal world knew about it. It had a long history, it was formed during the Olden Antiquity era, and had been around for over 1,000,000 years. This desert was formed from a particularly important situation in human history. It was during Reckless Savage Demon Venerable's era, a huge battle was fought here between humans and variant humans, after 100 days and night, rivers of blood flowed, almost turning into a sea. During that era, transformation path was the mainstream path. In the battle, humans won a Pyrrhic victory, be it the humans or the variant humans, large numbers of GU immortals died here. Their immortal fetuses formed into blessed lands, their Tao marks spread out and changed the environment. Gradually, this became the Myriad Statue Desert. The sand moved on its own, growing like trees at a slow rate each year, eventually turning into huge statues. This was the former location of the great battle where the different races fought from day until night, countless life forms died. But fortune and disaster coexisted, this place became a sanctuary for cultivation as it was now filled with resources. Every sand statue was an immortal material filled with transformation path Tao marks if it was at least 60 feet tall. There were no longer any blessed lands here, after 1,000,000 years, these blessed lands were either destroyed by tribulations or taken by GU immortals. But here, there were countless wild GU worms and even wild immortal GU. Nobody would step here rashly. Because the environment was too dense with Tao marks, mortals could not traverse the desert, it was too dangerous for them. As for Western Desert GU immortals, they would also make a detour when they came here. Because a one-person, 1000 transformations ancestor. This rank 8 GU immortal, specialized in transformation path, had been here for 1,000 years. The might of rank 8 deterred everyone from antagonizing him. Myriad Statue Desert was 1000 transformations ancestors' territory, any GU immortal who entered without his permission would need to prepare to face the fury of a rank 8. Deep below the desert, in Myriad Statue Palace. Deep within the palace, in an eerie dark corner, there was a painful cry that could be heard. Ah! 1000 transformations ancestor raised his head and screamed, he seemed to be in great pain, his expression was terrifying. Every time he shouted, sound waves could be seen spreading outwards. But when these sound waves landed on the palace walls, there would be a veil of light that absorbed all the sound waves rapidly. Because of these walls isolating him, all of the commotion from 1000 transformations ancestor could not be felt outside. Pain, intense pain, an unbearable pain was assaulting 1000 transformations ancestor's mind and body. His forehead had popping veins, he could not take it anymore, he rolled around the ground in pain. If any other GU immortal saw this, they would be deeply shocked. What was the reason that made 1000 transformations ancestor suffer such intense torture, to have lost all of his rank 8 demeanor? Cling, clang, more than 10 thick chains coiled around 1000 transformations ancestor's body, his 4 limbs were connected to chains that stabbed deeply into the surrounding walls. Seeing this, 1000 transformations ancestor was actually imprisoned. No, this cannot continue, I am going to go crazy completely, the intense pain will engulf all my reason and make me a lunatic. Rank 8 Myriad Tribulation, even the first one is so terrifying, how can I deal with the next 2? Damn it, the final bit of clarity in 1000 transformations ancestor's eyes struggled. Using this last bit of sanity, 1000 transformations ancestor made his choice. Immortal killer move, cutting flesh transformation. He activated his killer move, he was extremely familiar with this move, at the crucial moment, even though he was in deep pain, the activation did not fail. This rank 8 immortal killer move had grand aura. 1000 transformations ancestor's immortal body started to expand. Like he was a balloon, he became larger and larger, from a muscular middle-aged man into a round and fat meatball. The fat 1,000 transformations ancestor shook his body as soft sounds could be heard from within him. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Along with the sound, a meat lump appeared on the side of his neck. The meat lump became larger and larger, it inflated like a balloon. His pain intensified. 1,000 transformations ancestor gritted his teeth, his face had swollen up, his eyes could not be seen anymore. Goo. Soon, after the meat lump on his neck grew to the size of a face, it reached its limits and exploded. The meat lump exploded as yellow pus splattered, a year beast jumped out and landed on the ground. Woof woof woof. After this year beast landed, it started to bark, it was a dog year beast. And its aura was not weak, it was a desolate year beast. After the dog year beast landed on the ground, 1,000 transformations ancestor felt a bit of relief. It was as if he was carrying a mountain on his back, and now, a rock had been lifted off that mountain. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Next, on 1,000 transformations ancestor's body, more meat lumps appeared. Puff puff puff. In a short time, these meat lumps expanded and exploded, as pus oozed out and year beasts appeared. Chicken, monkey, sheep, rabbit, all sorts of year beasts appeared. These year beasts were not just desolate beast level, there were also some ancient year beasts. After some time, the year beasts gathered and attacked 1,000 transformations ancestor. 1,000 transformations ancestor was not surprised, his expression became more relaxed instead. His pain was greatly reduced, even though it was still painful, it was at a bearable level now. Against the attack of a dozen year beasts, 1,000 transformations ancestor snorted as he willed. Cling clang, countless thick chains shot out from the surrounding walls at lightning speed. In the blink of an eye, all of the year beasts were captured and suppressed, no matter how they struggled inside the palace. 1,000 transformations ancestor let out a breath of air, I can finally catch a breather. He grabbed the snake year beast closest to him and observed it with his methods. The snake year beast continued to hiss as it exposed its tongue, it wanted to bite 1,000 transformations ancestor but was restrained and could not move. A moment later, 1,000 transformations ancestor's expression was unchanged, but he was deeply shocked. I used all my methods earlier, but this snake year beast still has such great animosity against me, it wants me dead. My cutting flesh transformation is one of the styles of an immortal killer move from reckless savage true inheritance, suicide transformation. Whenever I use it, life forms would be produced from my body, regardless of form, they will be manipulated like my limbs, I can use them freely. Because they are a portion of my body to begin with. But these year beasts were produced from my body, yet I cannot control them, even with all my methods, they are useless. Such an amazing myriad tribulation. 1,000 transformations ancestor's forehead produced a drop of sweat. He thought about his tribulation half a month ago, he was still feeling lingering fear from it. Rank 8 GU immortals had to go through 3 myriad tribulations. 1,000 transformations ancestor had just gone through the first. If not for this immortal GU house left behind by reckless savage demon Venerable, I would not be able to survive the first myriad tribulation at all. Even though I passed it now, I am still severely injured, I had to use cutting flesh transformation to cut my losses short. 1,000 transformations ancestor wanted to find some other way around it, but after half a month, he reached his limit and could not endure it anymore. Without a choice, he could only use cutting flesh transformation to discard a portion of his immortal body, and get rid of the part of his body that was heavily injured. This time, he met with a time path myriad tribulation, the injuries on him were all of time path Tao marks. 1,000 transformations ancestor got rid of all these time path Tao marks using cutting flesh transformation, abandoning them. This way, the cutting flesh transformation turned them into year beasts. And because they were filled with heaven's will, these year beasts were not under his control, they were his enemies. 1,000 transformations ancestor felt great loss. The costs were too severe. Not just the near catastrophic damage to his immortal aperture from the myriad tribulation. Looking at the Tao marks he lost from cutting flesh transformation, not only did he lose the time path Tao marks, he even lost his own transformation path Tao marks. The Tao marks losses were too huge. 1,000 transformations ancestor counted. After this myriad tribulation, not only did he not have any growth in Tao marks, he even made a small loss instead. This means, I was better off not going through the tribulation. Thinking of this, the experienced 1,000 transformations ancestor's heart felt some bitterness. He sighed deeply. It could not be helped. In the past, he had cultivated boldly and advanced quickly, facing his myriad tribulation, he had stalled it until recently, when he could no longer stall it anymore. Even though he passed the myriad tribulation, 1000 transformations ancestor's foundation did not grow, he even became weaker in terms of Dao marks. I was wrong. 1000 years ago, by relying on this reckless savage true inheritance, I thought I would progress unhindered. Earthly calamities, heavenly tribulations, grand tribulations, I got through all of them easily, but the myriad tribulation is a completely different story. I underestimated the myriad tribulation's power. These last years, I had unknowingly gotten more arrogant. This injury is both a blessing and a disaster to me. 1000 transformations ancestor was a rank 8 expert, he was naturally an incredible person. He recalled his experiences and reflected on himself after this severe loss. Right at this time, outside the palace, a female immortal's voice could be heard. Lord husband, something happened. Sister Quibo's life tablet GU was broken, her soul lantern GU has turned dim. She went to Translocation Desert, but none of us can contact her now. This is too important, I had no choice but to inform you. Chapter 1399 Selling Year Beasts. What? 1000 transformations ancestor heard this and became furious. Even though he had many wives and concubines, among them, he doted on his third concubine, Fairy Quibo, the most. Who did not know that in Western Desert's GU Immortal world? Now that Fairy Quibo was in trouble, if it was intentional, then these GU Immortal culprits were simply looking down on 1000 transformations ancestor. There were two possibilities. The first was that the attacking GU Immortal had a strong background, similar to that of a rank 8 great expert, they were not afraid of 1000 transformations ancestor. The other possibility was that the inheritance of Western Desert Zombie Alliance's branch was too alluring, the value was tremendous, greed led to killing intent, and they took that risk at the spur of the moment. I'll repress it. 1000 transformations ancestor breathed in deeply, holding down his anger for now. He could not go out in this situation. There were still meat lumps growing on his body, continuing to produce year beasts. He needed to heal himself. If he left now and met any rank 8s, his weakness would be exposed. I occupy Myriad Statue Desert, everyone knows I obtained Reckless Savage's true inheritance. If my weak state is exposed, everyone will want to attack me, I need to lay low for now, I'll let Hong Yun 1 deal with it. Thinking of this, 1000 transformations ancestor transmitted outside. Hong Yun, set off now, find Quibo and save her. The female immortal outside said in fear, Lord husband, I have low battle strength, my safety is secondary, but if I fail to achieve your objective, that will be worse. No worries, I will lend you a rank 8 immortal GU along with my will and immortal essence. Don't worry and go. 1000 transformations ancestor said as a slit opened in the door, a lump of will carrying a rank 8 immortal GU as well as some immortal essence flew out. The female immortal, Hong Yun, was overjoyed, she bowed 3 times, this concubine understands. 1000 transformations ancestor asked Hong Yun to leave as his thoughts went back to his problem. Even though he loved Fairy Quibo, the bigger concern was himself. There were more and more year beasts in this palace. 1000 transformations ancestor frowned deeply. These year beasts are either desolate beasts or ancient desolate beasts. But they are filled with heaven's will and are my enemies, I cannot use them. Rather than killing them for immortal materials I might as well sell them inside Treasure Yellow Heaven. 1000 transformations ancestor had no other choice. This myriad tribulation expended almost all of his foundation. His immortal aperture was a mess now, and so was his body, his battle strength was lower than before he went through the myriad tribulation. And the most infuriating thing was, even though he passed the myriad tribulation, he had lost Dao marks instead of gaining them. GU immortal cultivation is truly increasingly difficult. Even though I had Reckless Savage's true inheritance, I still faced such great danger during the myriad tribulation. No wonder there are only 10 rank 9 GU immortals throughout the long history of humanity. Sigh. 1000 transformations ancestor sighed deeply as he stuffed a desolate level year beast into his immortal aperture. Using the immortal aperture, he sent this year beast into Treasure Yellow Heaven. Any item, when placed into Treasure Yellow Heaven, would emit treasure light. Although 1000 transformations ancestor's desolate level year beast was not a genuine one, being formed from his flesh, and created from heaven's will and time path Dao marks, after entering Treasure Yellow Heaven, it emitted an incredibly large treasure light. This treasure light attracted the attention of many GU immortals. Some were GU immortal wills while others were the divine senses of GU immortals undergoing transaction. How are you selling this year beast? Soon, GU immortals approached him. 1000 transformations ancestor smiled and replied, no hurry, no hurry. Soon after, he stuffed a portion of the year beasts into Treasure Yellow Heaven again. Year beasts were rare in the first place. Especially when they lived inside the river of time. Be it the 5 regions or the 2 heavens, they were rarely seen. Entering the river of time was far harder than entering black heaven and white heaven. Only time path rank 8 great experts could enter freely. Right now, 1000 Transformations ancestor wanted to sell so many year beasts, and they were not ordinary beasts, they were all desolate beasts or ancient desolate beasts. Treasure Yellow Heaven went into a commotion. There is a GU Immortal selling large numbers of year beasts suddenly, go take a look. These year beasts have such high quality, it is astounding. It is hard to imagine that someone raised so many year beasts. This person must be a time path great expert. The GU Immortals conversed and guessed. 1000 Transformations ancestor was rather satisfied, he created such a commotion and watched as it spread. Soon, more and more GU Immortals will pay attention to this. These year beasts are pure and natural. I have not used any enslavement methods on them from the start. You can see for yourselves. 1000 Transformations ancestor explained. The GU Immortals took a look and found that it was true, they quickly asked for the price. No rush, no rush. 1000 Transformations ancestor stalled. He was waiting. These year beasts were not true wild beasts, they were flesh of his body, formed from the might of the myriad tribulation. There were differences between them and natural year beasts. Normal year beasts could be enslaved, but these year beasts filled with heavens will could not. Even if anyone could do it, they would have to be incredible experts, having extraordinary methods. Thus, 1000 Transformations ancestor needed to sell them all in the shortest time possible. This could not be a sustained trade. As time passes, everyone would find out this problem and announce it, his business will suffer greatly. Hopefully, one buyer offers a high price and buy all these year beasts. 1000 Transformations ancestor was thinking about the best case scenario. He wanted to sell it to those super forces or rank 8 GU Immortals. More and more year beasts were put up in Treasure Yellow Heaven by 1000 Transformations ancestor. The GU Immortals were gasping, thinking that this was a huge trade. For the last 50,000 years, this was an extremely large number of year beasts sold. Seeing that more people were coming, 1000 Transformations ancestor announced, I don't like trouble, whoever buys more, I will sell to them first. For the price, I will sell according to the treasure light of each year beast, this is a fair and impartial trade. Once he said that, the secluded cultivators and lone cultivators begrudged. But some emerged to ask about the transaction and price. They were either rank 8 great experts or representatives of super forces. 1000 Transformations ancestor negotiated with these people closely, his mind went back to a calm state. At this rate of sales, after he sells all the year beasts, he would earn quite a bit. He might even be able to recoup his losses. Feng Juzhe was flying in the sky. It was a clear sky with no clouds anywhere. Looking down, he saw that sand dunes were moving around, flowing slowly. What made Feng Juzhe comfortable was that this desert was not void of life, there was vegetation in it. Some were cactus pointers, some were arrow shrubs, and some were white teeth flowers, bringing some life to the desert. These were all common vegetation in Western Desert. The cactus pointer was very much like a cactus, there were pin-like leaves on it. The cactus pointer had the shape of a human hand, some were clenched while others were pointing their index fingers, some were curling their pinky or raising their middle fingers, they pointed in all directions. Arrow shrubs were the most common shrub in Western Desert. They had long and thick branches, they were about 10 feet tall while some could reach 30 feet, even taller than houses. Under the arrow shrubs were some sandworms, and even wild GU. As for white teeth flowers, they were like sunflowers at the size of a face, looking at the sun to absorb sunlight. Around the flowers, there were orange-yellow petals, and at the center of the flower, there were rows of white teeth, lined together in a packed fashion. Under the light of the sun, they shined with a milky luster. This was the special scenery of Western Desert. Feng Juzhe enjoyed it very much. His main attention was ahead of him. I am close, Fang Yuan and the rest are nearby. Feng Juzhe started to descend. Soon, he went down and landed on the hot desert surface. He flew down rapidly, but from start to finish, there was no commotion, no wind had formed at all. Feng Juzhe looked around, a brilliant light flashed in his eyes, he had a discovery. There is an illusion formation here. This illusion formation could not be destroyed, even though it was a mortal formation, destroying it would alert them. Feng Juzhe thought about it, he found that this illusion formation did not isolate the air of the inside and outside. A gust of wind blew. Feng Juzhe stretched out his arm and squeezed. He actually grabbed the wind with his hand. Next, an immortal killer move was secretly activated in his hand, the aura was completely concealed. Finally, Feng Zhuzhe opened his hand as the wind in his grasp was placed towards his chest. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Next, wind moved around his entire body. It was no different from the earlier natural breeze. Under the force of this wind, he moved quickly and went past the illusion formation, getting to the core of the GU formation. His field of vision changed. A huge sand whirlpool took over Feng Zhuzhe's sight. Loud crashing noises could be heard around his ears. Feng Zhuzhe felt like he was in the middle of a waterfall. The rising smoke felt like the water vapor of the waterfall. The entire sand whirlpool was huge and grand. Feng Zhuzhe looked around. He did not discover Fang Yuan and the rest. He directed his gaze towards the center of the sand whirlpool. There was a deep dark hole there. After investigating it, Feng Zhuzhe did not hesitate. He jumped into the hole. The hole was formed from spiraling sand. Feng Zhuzhe flew downward alone. The tunnel was quite big for one person. Deep into the sand hole, Feng Zhuzhe soon found himself in darkness. Feng Zhuzhe could not see anything, but it did not matter. His investigative methods were not few, they were very useful. This darkness could not stop him. Time path aura. Feng Zhuzhe's heart jumped. He knew he was at the right place. This could be a tributary of the river of time. If Fang Yuan followed the tributary of the river of time, he could enter the river of time and find Red Lotus, true inheritance. Chapter 1400 Beast Army. The tunnel deep within the center of the sand whirlpool seemed to extend endlessly underground. The deeper Feng Zhuzhe went, the more he could feel the time path aura getting denser. Suddenly, from the darkness, there was a shining spark. Inside the darkness, this light was extremely eye-catching. It was shining in a brass color. A wild mortal GU. Feng Zhuzhe flew closer and saw a rank 3 Day GU. Day GU looked like a shell with the size of a child's palm. It was round with 2 fins on its sides. The fins moved around as the shell swam in the darkness gently. Compared to year beasts, Day GU was much more common. It could be found anywhere in the 5 regions and 2 heavens. What got Feng Zhuzhe's attention was the fact that the river of time was filled with a vast number of Day GU, month GU, and year GU to begin with. There were wild Day GU here. Was there a tributary of the river of time like he thought? Tributaries of the river of time were a commonly seen yet rare cultivation resource. Commonly seen because every GU Immortal's immortal aperture had a tributary of the river of time. It allowed time to flow within the immortal aperture's world. But rare because inside the 5 regions and 2 heavens, there were few tributaries of the river of time, yet their scale was much larger than those inside immortal apertures. Once they appeared, super forces would fight for them using great strength. If lone immortals found them, they would try to conceal them and use them to gain a fortune themselves. Not only were time path GU worms needed by time path GU masters or GU immortals, they were very widely used in GU refinement. For example, Day GU, this rank 3 Day GU has 3 days worth of time in it. If one had the relevant refinement path method, by expending this rank 3 Day GU, they could shorten the time needed for GU refinement by 3 days. There were also time path lifespan extension methods using Day GU, month GU, and year GU to increase lifespan. Of course, these methods had flaws and would carve time path Dao marks in the person's body. When these Dao marks accumulated, they would not be able to use lifespan GU in the future. But lifespan GU were hard to find. If one did not have any, and their lifespan was at its end, would they not use these methods? If there is a tributary of the river of time here, Shadow Sect must have found it and secretly hid it here. Feng Zhuzhe continued to delve deeper. Soon, he saw more and more wild time path GU worms. Day GU, month GU, year GU and more. A white ripple of light appeared in front of Feng Zhuzhe. This ripple was the size of a bed. It was like the ripples on the surface of a lake, completely silent. Feng Zhuzhe slowed down cautiously. This was a ripple of time. A special phenomenon, like wind in the desert, fog in the mountains, and rain from the sky. Ripples of time were a natural phenomenon as well. Any life form which entered a ripple of time would be affected. Their time would become faster, they would grow older more quickly. They could also become slower, the world would seem to move faster, from their perspective. But regardless of fast or slow, their lifespan would be shaved away. Feng Zhuzhe did not dare to test it, he slowed down and detoured around it. After leaving the ripple of time, Feng Zhuzhe let out a breath of air. He was even more certain now that there was a tributary of the river of time here. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals have already pointed out to him that Red Lotus, true inheritance was hidden in the Stone Lotus Islands. If Feng Yuan wanted to inherit it, he would need to enter the River of Time, and to get into the River of Time, the best way was to find a tributary of the River of Time. This tributary of the River of Time was like an entrance, it had to be big enough to enter. The tributary of the River of Time in a GU Immortal's immortal aperture was not big enough. Only a tributary of the River of Time in the 5 regions and 2 heavens had an almost similar rate at which time flowed as the River of Time, it could allow GU Immortals to enter. More and more ripples of time started to appear in front of Feng Zhuzhe. The deeper he went, the larger the tunnel became. At first, there were only a few time path mortal GU, but they increased in numbers. When he got to the deepest part, there were GU worm groups of at least 100 per group. The time path aura was getting denser, Feng Zhuzhe could even hear the sound of flowing water. Next, in his vision, he saw a long line. As Feng Zhuzhe got closer, this line got larger, until it became the form of a river. A tributary of the River of Time. Feng Zhuzhe's heart shook, it was indeed here. But where are Fang Yuan and the others? Feng Zhuzhe had just thought of this when a figure emerged from a ripple of time near him, pouncing at him. Feng Zhuzhe immediately dodged as bright light shined in his eyes. An immortal killer move was instantly activated. Sound path. Silence surpasses sound. Feng Zhuzhe cultivated sound path and aspired to create 9 songs to represent everything in this world. He had already created 7 songs currently, Separation Song was one of them. But other than his 7 songs, he also had other sound path methods. Sound path killer move Silence surpasses sound was one of them. Feng Zhuzhe had practiced it a lot, he was extremely familiar with it, his activation succeeded instantly. He started to punch with his fist and strike with his palm, attacking the black shadow from a distance. This was a killer move, with his fist as the drum fist, and his palm as the bell palm. It was the content of Spirit Affinity House's 3 sounds true inheritance. Within the 3 sounds true inheritance, other than drum fist and bell palm, there was also whistle finger. But Feng Zhuzhe had not learned it yet, he had only practiced this with the aim of covering some shortages of methods in battle. That huge shadow monster was growling from Feng Zhuzhe's attacks. But the strange thing was, its growling vanished the moment it opened its mouth. Feng Zhuzhe's drum fist created drumming noises, while his bell palm created bell chimes. But at this moment, there was no sound produced here. Soon, Feng Zhuzhe had the upper hand, his attacks became fiercer as the monster became dazed from the attacks, it could not retaliate. Feng Zhuzhe also saw that the thing that assaulted him was a year beast. Monkey year beast, and it was only a desolate beast, it was not an ancient desolate beast. Otherwise, it would not be suppressed so easily. Feng Zhuzhe squinted. In the River of Time, not only were there wild time path GU worms, there were also wild beasts and plants. Year beasts were rare in the 5 regions, but they were common in the River of Time. But, was this desolate level year beast arranged by Fang Yuan, or was it truly wild? Feng Zhuzhe was considering this problem. The answer to this would mean that Fang Yuan had either found his traces or not. Year beast, Fang Yuan watched the battle as he connected to Treasure Yellow Heaven. In Treasure Yellow Heaven, there were actually people selling year beasts openly, this was very rare. Fang Yuan was deeply enticed. These year beasts were either desolate beasts or ancient desolate beasts, if he could buy them and enslave them, they would be a huge force. Don't forget about his 180 slaves immortal killer move. By then, using these year beasts and 180 slaves killer move, Fang Yuan could even enslave immemorial year beasts. Even though he lost the upper extreme heavenly eagle, if he could get immemorial year beasts, Fang Yuan would get another rank 8 battle strength. But the problem was, the seller wanted to make huge transactions. Fang Yuan naturally wanted to buy all of the year beasts, but he was not the only one. His greatest weakness was that he did not have enough funds. If he wanted to buy the year beasts, he would need to sell the desolate beast eagles and ancient desolate beast eagles he bought earlier. Of course, Fang Yuan could sell immortal GU. But he would not do that unless he had no choice. During the Battle of the Dream Realm, Fang Yuan had to do that to survive, but now, it was not a situation of life and death. Thousand Transformations ancestor was making his decision now. He received many offers, but there were only 3 that moved him. One directly offered immortal essence stones, a vast number of them. It was hard to imagine that someone would actually have so many immortal essence stones, even Thousand Transformations ancestor was shocked. The second one offered a lot of immortal materials of all kinds. What moved Thousand Transformations ancestor was that among them were a lot of transformation path immortal materials. The third buyer was also very sincere, he wanted to use eagle beasts to exchange for year beasts. Thousand Transformations ancestor was currently cultivating a type of eagle transformation, this buyer's offer suited him. While Thousand Transformations' ancestor was hesitating, one of the three buyers offered a new high price. They are willing to offer Immortal GU. Thousand Transformations' ancestor was shocked and surprised. He did not hesitate anymore, he agreed to the transaction. All of the year beasts were sold to 1 GU Immortal. The transaction ended quickly, be it the buyer's deep foundation and offer, or Thousand Transformations' ancestor's quick decision, they were shocking. Western Desert, inside the moving sand tunnel. Chirp chirp chirp. The monkey year beast screamed shrilly. But its screams vanished due to Feng Juji's killer move. In this silent battle, the monkey year beast could not resist Feng Juje, it was brutally slaughtered. Feng Juje inspected and found that this monkey year beast was truly a wild desolate beast. He took it as his spoils of battle and kept it in his immortal aperture. The entire battle only lasted for a short while. Feng Juje had evidently not used his true power, eliminating a desolate level year beast was too simple. He did not need to rest, he continued to travel towards the tributary of the River of Time. The closer he got, the clearer the tributary of the River of Time became. River water was flowing, ripples were shining, the river was silently moving in this darkness. Howl, howl, suddenly, from the tributary of the River of Time, several year beasts flew out and attacked Feng Juje. Feng Juje was slightly shocked. I was discovered. Earlier at that instant, he felt the aura of an immortal killer move. The year beasts that attacked were quite powerful, there were 5 desolate level year beasts and 3 ancient year beasts. Feng Juje snorted, his battle intent surged. Since he was discovered, he no longer needed to restrain himself in battle. Come out Fang Yuan, Feng Juje lightly called out. But at the next moment, his pupils shrunk. More year beasts were coming out from the tributary of the River of Time. In an instant, there were more than 10 year beasts. And more were continuing to attack as they came out of the tributary of the River of Time. What is going on? Is there a group of year beasts near this tributary of the River of Time?